And hello and welcome to the, oh my gosh, what a timing. We have a hype train already going. And look, it's bear time, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome to this beautiful day in the simulation. I'm here with our lovely friends, Zach, Siobhán, and Justice. And we are playing the Quarry, which is everybody's favorite game about dog boys and relationships. I can't live with them, can't live without them. Can't live if you make the wrong decision tonight at Hackett's Quarry. So welcome back, everybody. It's been a long time. Yeah, everyone's happy to be back. We see the Justice is shaved. Justice shaved his face. Everyone's happy to see that.
And how handsome does he look? Can we talk in
handsome.
the comments?
We've
so
done
handsome.
We've done a lot of everyone's changed these past few weeks. We've all changed a lot. I've done some growing myself. I tried a Domino's pizza dipped in ranch dressing. And
Miles, how did you feel?
I was very apprehensive about this. I still do not believe that it is what could be called a true pizza experience. But in an emergency, I've decided that in an emergency, a Domino's pizza, if I have to eat a Domino's pizza, dipping it in ranch does not make it worse. That's where I landed.
I will take that as a win.
Good on you.
That's where
Good
I landed.
on you for putting yourself out there, Miles.
I did some growing.
For you.
I dipped it in the Justice. I dipped it in the other one.
I formally wanted to. I want to put in a formal request to flash back
I was
to
reading
when Miles.
Justice is so hot in the chat and accidentally.
Yeah, you did
Freudian slipped.
I
accidentally Freudian slipped.
You dipped it in
pizza
the
dipped in Justice.
And this is how we bait chat. And we get our clips because this is all about the clips. I've also done some growing. I wanted to apologize to Canada. Last stream I had a couple beers or wine, and Siobhán asked me to try to roast Canada. She asked me to try to roast Canada. You can't roast Canada. What are you supposed to do? It's a great, beautiful place. So I've been on an apology tour. I went to Canada, and at first I sent a bag of my blood to Wayne Gretzky. And I got a letter back said, we don't want this. I don't want this. I don't need your blood. I have plenty of blood myself. But I tried. I also went to Justin Trudeau's Halloween party. And I volunteered to make sure no one took any photos of his costume. So I did my best to pay it back to Canada. And I hope that Canada can forgive me. For my transgressions. How about you guys? What have you been up to? What did you do for Halloween, and what how have you grown since the last time I saw you?
I'm good. Nothing really new. Halloween was cool. I'm alive, so I'm generally happy.
That's a 10.
Thanks. That is a 10.
That's a 10. How about you, Siobhán? What have you been up to?
We haven't been up to a lot. We got some winter here pretty intensely like a week and a half ago, which is very unusual for the Vancouver coast. So we had like a good amount of snow, which was really exciting. And it's been beautiful. So just trying to make the most of the snow / the sunshine that we've been getting. Being outside.
That sounds beautiful. Oh, and Chant came out. That's what I'm seeing in the chat. How's Chant? Did you play on stream? I gotta play.
Yeah, everyone go check out Siobhán's game Chant. She's the lead.
Thanks, guys.
That's sick.
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't actually played it yet, so I have no idea what to expect.
I went to go. I was looking in the store and stuff, and like you were on the main, like it was like Call of Duty, Chant. And I was like, oh shit.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool. I'm so mad. Like, there's only one GameStop anywhere near where I live, and they have like 20 games in their store. It's like a micro GameStop. And so when the Quarry came out, they sold out.
Size does not matter. Do not shame the GameStop, okay? Just
everyone support.
Just wish there was a real one.
Support your local GameStop. We love you, GameStop.
No matter what their size.
We love we love you, GameStop. Just want
Sorry.
to quickly, just want to say thank you for this hype train. It was a big success. Wow. Let's take a look at some of these great contributions that we've received. Wow. We got Pebblbrained. Thank you for the resub. Thank you so much. And for the gift sub as well. My Flooded Lungs, Buttercup Crumbs, Kiara, Gracie, Carlini with the gift subs. Thank you, Carlini, with the many gift subs, Carlini. We were very grateful to have you here, Carlini. Thank you for the support. And Waffle Boffle Twitch, thank you for the resub. And Shayna, thank you as always again for this very generous contribution, Shayna. And Anova Jinx, thank you for those 5 gift subs. Ice Chocobo, Dr. Sock, Catnips, one of my favorite. Catnips is one of my favorite usernames
There's so many ways to interpret that.
Well, I think it's a great play on words because there's catnip, which is an herb that cats like to get stoned off.
Nipples.
And then there's the nipples, that's another way to look at it. So thank you, Catnips.
Really, very deep.
Nana7, thank you for the resub. VC Miliero, Ratatav, Dame Choco, Sayayoshi, thank you so much, everybody. And Small Goth, thank you so much for these contributions. Very kind of you. Really, really appreciate it. So we got a shirt of the day redemption. My shirt today is Baby Metal. If you guys want to show off your shirts, you're very welcome to show off your shirts.
I have a Beatles shirt on.
And
my shirt is the 3rd shirt that I tried on because I didn't know what to wear today.
It's a good shirt, Justice. It's a very good shirt, I gotta say. I'm kind of jealous.
Great shirt.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. It's rad.
So we have one piece of disappointing news, unfortunately. So you all might remember Spaghetti Neck Man.
Treacherous.
And he's been very treacherous today, and he accidentally deleted Justice's copy of the Quarry off of his PlayStation. So he is currently downloading that game, and he
didn't mean it. He has a temper. I made him mad earlier, and he wanted to take it out on me. But he's young. In Spaghetti Neck years, 40 is young. It's still teenage age. So, and he just turned 42. So
he's lashing out. Yeah, he's
lashing out. He's in his terrible.
What's the lifespan of a Spaghetti Neck?
4,000
years.
Whoa! Holy shit!
4,000 years.
Damn, they must mature very slowly.
So actually, technically, then he's like literally a baby child infant, like fresh out the womb.
Yeah, now I understand.
Wow.
I'm surprised he even was able to like do
Use
it.
the controller.
Yeah,
I know.
That's even impressive.
Maybe he was like embodied by the spirit of Abigail, and she was pissed and deleted the game off of your console.
Funny.
It's like
The beheaded spirit of Abigail possessed
That's right.
Spaghetti Neck child, and did the Quarry PS4 version off of my PS5.
but not the PS5 version.
But not the PS5 version, because they're like, you could still play, you just can't play with your friends.
So I just to briefly interrupt and just say that album of the day was redeemed.
Oh, the stream is like glitching out all of a sudden. Is it just me?
I think that's just you. I think
yeah, it's just
you, honey.
Never mind.
So Kochia redeemed album of the day and requested the word skinny dipping. As the skinny dipping is the influence for the album of the day. So I'm actually gonna just play one more time this song that just played a second ago, because it actually feels to me like a great skinny dipping song. And this is Denise Williams with This Is Nisi. That's the name of the album. It's a song called Free, and I have put it in the chat, and that is the album of the day. It's a beautiful album. And
also, someone just asked why bears have nipples if they have milk. Yes. Any mammal makes milk. That's why they're called mammals, because of mammary glands, i.e. boobies.
Speaking of,
dolphins are mammals.
Whoa, it's true.
Mom knows her stuff when it comes to animals.
Do dolphins have boobs?
Dolphins have
no.
Dolphins are mammals.
I think there's a couple exceptions.
Dolphins are
Dolphins
mammals.
have
Yes.
titties.
I don't know if
Dolphins
titties.
have-
I don't know if mammals inherently
What?
is making milk a thing that all
dolphins have
mammals
titties?
do.
Yes.
That's basically the definition of a mammal, but there are a few exceptions.
Okay.
Okay,
Like maybe dolphins.
can someone get on Google and Google do
on
dolphins
it.
have titties?
Okay.
You're gonna
Do
find
dolphins
you're
have
gonna find dolphins with titties on if you Google dolphins with titties, someone has made that happen. I don't know about
They do. They do have.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
They have
told you.
nits.
It says cetaceans nurse their young just like land mammals do. Under the
So they have nips?
Unlike the
Wow.
exposed nipples of humans, the mammary glands of dolphins and porpoises are concealed inside of abdominal slits. The mother squirts
Oh.
the milk into the calf's mouth to account for the difficulty of underwater sucking.
There's nothing very
Wow,
sexy
that's
about the
so
term
nice.
abdominal slit, though.
That's
Yeah,
wow.
I
Yes. Open up your abdominal,
Abdominal
slit. for me.
slit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let me
so-
see what's inside your abdominal slit.
gross.
So you're just upset that dolphins don't sexualize their method
Yeah.
for feeding their children,
You're
Zach,
Zach?
right.
that's
I'm
fucked up.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Who's upset? Oh, Zach's upset.
Zach's
I'll make
upset.
a statement tomorrow. I'll release a statement tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
I
so
love it.
let's
I
keep it.
love
Let's
that
keep it. Let's keep
said,
track of
I'm
who
gonna
needs.
keep my titties behind my abdomen.
It's cool though. It's pretty.
Mods, can you keep track of who needs to issue notes app apologies tomorrow? Can we
I'll
keep?
be
Can
writing
we
a
have
lot
like
of
a
letters
counter
by the end of this stream.
for who owes apologies by the end of the stream? This this is it's gonna be a little bit chaotic if you're new here. Don't worry about it. It's
But
a
that's
place
the
to
fun.
it's a place
That's
to
the
play the
fun.
quarry. It's also a place to talk about mammalian child rearing. Which speaking
abdominal
of,
slits.
I watched Barbarian last night. Fantastic.
Oh my god! I was just talking to
So
someone
good.
about it.
Fantastic. I don't want to
I didn't
spoil
see it, but
anything
they
on
were like, "You
stream.
have to watch it."
You saw it, Justice?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm
I
shook.
watched it again.
It's so good.
Can you watch streaming yet?
It's on HBO Max.
Great. That's what.
Yeah,
I'm
you
doing
gotta
tonight.
watch it. Very good.
Siobhán, have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't even heard of it.
Oh, it's
all I
good.
know,
It's so good. You'll love
the
it.
person I was talking to, they were like, "It's about someone who goes to an Airbnb." That's all I'm gonna tell you.
That's
I
all
was
you
like,
should.
all right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all you.
Cool.
Well, posture
like it.
check.
Posture check. Thank you. Sandy Slav, Mooncake Kitty, Dreamer Money, thank you for these gift subs. And resubs. All right. So we got a posture check. I think I forgot to add. Should be in there. Huh. I don't know why it's not showing up. Okay. Well, should we take a look at getting into this game and see if we can I don't think we're gonna finish this game today. I'm just guessing.
I don't
There's
think
no
we
way.
are either. We're gonna have to have a big wham bam finale that we actually tell people about.
Is this okay?
This was the sleeper hit. This is the sleeper hit.
Do we want to
That's
do?
right.
Do we want to? Okay, Top
This is
C.
like a
Thank you for the
PT
posture
movie
check.
that they
I don't
don't
know
do
why it didn't
press
show up
for.
on the screen. So do we want to take a prediction poll for how far into this game we're gonna get today, or what?
Sure.
100%. We're not reaching it. I don't know, mods. If you want to, let's give a quick shout out to the mods. We love you, mods. Thank you so much. If you see someone with a sword next to their
Oh,
name,
please, if there's anyone in here who was at Day of Days yesterday's, let me know, and I'd love to be like, thanks for coming. I
We'd
appreciate
love to
it.
buy you dinner.
Yeah.
we love you. We
Yeah.
love you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Oh, did you start it?
No, not yet. Let's start it. Okay. So let's hop in here. Yeah, sorry I killed Abby last time. I got a little saucy.
How
You
close
didn't
is your
kill
dinner?
Abby. The chat
That's
killed
just-
Abby.
Oh, you're right. Chat killed Abby.
No.
No, chat didn't vote fast enough. Thank you, Siobhán. You're right.
No, don't expunge his.
That's something you do not need to apologize. for.
Justice, how
I
close
put it
is
to a
your
poll.
game?
Oh, my game? Oh, it's about 52 minutes out.
Okay. So we're gonna have Justice join us after 52 minutes.
Someone just asked how long the stream. Oh yeah, I think 4 hours.
Yeah, we
like
usually do
4 hours. Yeah. Alrighty.
On the clock.
Yeah, and we did not get Dylan infected last time. And a lot of people were upset about that. There might be another chance to get Dylan infected, though.
Why do they want him infected? I don't get it.
Maybe because if he gets infected, there's a really just powerful piece of acting that Dylan's actor does.
Salt
Oh
is
wait,
a way
what,
of
what
life.
is,
Obviously, the environment down
Shar,
here is
thank
all
you for-
salt.
yeah, this is
ceiling's
the,
salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you constantly taste the salt.
Thank you for playing the salt, the very salty. Let me make sure that I put the.
What's happening?
I'm so confused.
It's Twitch stuff. Don't worry about it. It was a sound alert. Okay, I'm putting the sound alerts over this.
You look so thrown for a second.
All right, everybody.
I also want to just take this opportunity for to apologize and clarify on behalf of all of us that the writing in this game for the characters is fantastic, and we were joking when we said that we wrote all of our own lines.
Oh, I thought that was.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was. I thought
Given.
people
That
was
understood
the
that
full-
bit.
Yeah, that's a given, I think.
All right. Well.
If you think that we wrote these lines, you have to be so stupid.
Wow. Okay, now Justice is firing on.
The best defense is an offense.
Okay, I see.
I love when Justice gets mad.
We yeah, no, we
You know what I did? I
do?
rewatched that clip when Justice, you were so mad about your running animation. What your elbows look like.
Oh yeah.
So fucking funny.
Honestly,
You look like
it's my
you're
fault.
treading water.
It's my fault though, because I think when I was getting scanned and like had all my photos, I was like, how do I stand? I don't even know how I stand normally. So I was thinking about it a lot, and I was like, well, I should have really good posture. So I remember like putting my shoulders back and like imagining the string pulling my head up, and like just was trying to have the best posture possible, because I was like, otherwise they're not gonna be able to put an exoskeleton on it and yada yada yada, and they won't be able to animate it.
Right.
And I think because I did that, and then when I subsequently when I went and I started acting, I don't actually stand like that when I'm moving. I don't actually have perfect posture, so it made me look weird. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because the model that they had perfect posture, and then when I was actually controlling the body of the character, I don't have perfect posture. So it was just like this weird.
I think we're gonna need to see you run, Justice. I think
Did
it
you
was a
stand,
weird.
did you stand up
barbarian-
straighter?
Can you
Did
do
you
a
stand up
quick?
straighter too because you thought it would make you like also seem stronger as Ryan, or was it Gan?
I literally was just like, I've never done a scan before. And they were like, okay, be very still, stand there, like, be very still. So I was like, oh, well, I should be the, like, in my mind, I had what the perfect scanned body looks like. And it's like someone who's completely straight up, and like their feet are shoulder width apart. And like, I was just like
Right.
trying to like be, I don't know, moving my body, standing in a way that I don't normally stand. And I think it's
Justice, I think we need to see you run. Can you do a quick lap around the room?
yeah, I mean,
highest elbows you've ever seen.
hold on, here, I'll
Let's
show you
just,
how I
or
run.
just in place, just in place. It doesn't
No, I'm
have to
gonna
be.
show you right here.
Okay,
I'm gonna
let's
show
see
you
it.
right here.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
So I run pretty normal.
Okay, let's see. Let's see what that looks like.
Just like this.
I like those pants. His dog's like, what's wrong?
I thought that looked really normal. That looked normal to me.
That looked
Yeah.
normal,
I can
right?
see
And
why.
I thought
don't
that
know
was
why
normal.
they-
Yeah.
So I don't know why they did what they did in the game.
I don't know.
The whole point was just to make you look bad.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
They just wanted to take you down.
So that was a really nice
now.
normal run, Justice. I appreciate that. Let's see how let's compare that now to the game. Let's hop in.
Re-examine.
Let's hop. Yeah, this is a nice segue into
Oh,
the
it's
game. And look, it's
me!
you, and you're all bloody.
You.
Look at
Bloody
that.
Justice.
You got spaghetti
Why am I
sauce all over you. Yeah,
Wait, why am I bloody?
because you cut off my arm with a chainsaw.
Right. Right.
Very recently, and it hurt a lot, and I don't know why you would do that.
Zach, are you wearing
because
pants?
Because it was fun.
Yes,
That's a good point. Okay, So here we go.
Awesome.
We're gonna pause the music and we are going to jump back into the game. Is everybody ready to watch the Quarry game?
Yes, sir.
Born
Well,
ready.
What's that?
play and watch. Yes,
All right,
sir.
let's play and watch the game. Okay, here we go.
So we just found dead Kaylee, right?
We found dead Kaylee. We
Oh my God! Jeez, jeez.
Abby, yeah, I forgot. And it sucks because I really liked her. I liked her Velma outfit. Okay. Or maybe it's Nick's blood. That's a good point.
Oh God.
Okay.
I like hopeful because this. I don't know how we could look at this as hopeful.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with this is really bad myself. Okay, we got more hopeful in the chat.
We just gotta focus. We can still get out of this alive together, okay?
Well, not all of us.
Yeah. You see what just happened?
Yeah, no
because
shit.
chat didn't vote fast enough.
Dumbass.
Damn.
Ryan be acting so tough and says things like "whoopsie daisy."
Whoopsie.
Wait, guys, there's I need okay. There's a choice here I'd really like to make if you don't mind.
Okay, what's the choice?
It's I think we should let Dylan or wait, we how does it work? I think you got to let Dylan open the door.
Who's there?
I need
Okay.
your help. Please.
Oh, where you go? I'm not gonna spoil it. I
Spoilers.
know what you're talking about.
Oh
I'm,
my
I'm not gonna
God.
say. I didn't say it. Don't put the bingo mark on. I swear, it wasn't a spoiler.
Yeah, there's a crazy woman with a gun killing people.
I'm not
Almost did.
killing people.
Holy shit! Laura Kearney, you're Laura Kearney.
Is there a way I can hear the game because I
You were
can't
supposed
hear
to be
anything?
working,
Oh shit.
helping out in the nurse's office, right? And you never showed
No.
up.
That's
You
fine.
and the guy, what's his name?
Okay.
Max?
Yes, Max. Yeah.
Is that mine that's feeding back?
Mr.
I can
That's
hear
Hackett,
me.
feedback.
That's
I
me.
changed
I
your
can
mind
see it
last
on me.
minute.
Sorry.
Oh, but honestly though, I like it, so I
think
can
we
actually
should-
hear.
We should listen to her.
I know.
Inside.
Wait, let's
I'm gonna just read you everything that's happening.
let me see if I can hold on. Let me actually real quick. I think just as
You want us to? Okay.
my output I'm actually I don't know how to do it. I'm sorry. If you can watch the
That's okay.
if you watch the stream with the audio, you'll just
It's
be on a
the-
little
if I-
delay. But
I'll be on a delay, yeah. So it's okay. It's good.
Uh,
Everyone wants you to be suspicious.
okay, suspicious. We'll get you in here soon.
What do we have to
Justice.
do?
Keep us count.
Is this
keep
the
us on
right choice for
countdown.
the
Yeah, we gotta
dialogue?
be
Yeah, 40
suspicious.
minutes.
We gotta be
I don't know.
suspicious.
I don't trust her.
Dude, it's dangerous out there.
Yeah, she's dangerous.
Whatever, man. You're not in charge.
You're the best.
Fuck, Dylan.
Hello.
That's it. That's the whole thing. that's what we did. Okay.
Well, I couldn't hear it.
It was quiet.
It wasn't in the caption.
It's pretty good. I couldn't really hear it either, but I've seen it before.
How come my TV is feeding back and your guys aren't?
Is your
'Cause I'm a
mic
pro
pointed
streamer.
far away from it? I don't know.
Why don't we
Yeah.
take another look at what you've
That was such a
found?
short chapter. Wow.
Yeah, we already got through a whole
Wait, that was-
Oh, Justice!
Hell yeah.
Well, we know who's reading this one.
An eye for an eye.
Justice.
Not exactly.
Oh wait, this
in
isn't the
some
reading part, is
cases.
it?
No, I
This
think
is
we
just
were
for
supposed
show.
to. I
Yeah.
think we forgot to do an ASMR reading of that one, actually.
Actions
Oh.
and consequences.
There's no way. How could we have forgotten?
Play a
There's
part
no
in
way.
making Sure, the scales aren't.
Especially with the name Justice. Damu.
The moon.
The
How
moon.
poignant. Tonight
like
of all
moon.
nights, to harness your fear and anxiety and turn them into intuition. If you can do this and plan ahead, you're cunning like just safer.
Okay, people want me to tell them about the tarot.
Yeah, I think we need.
Now
we
tell
need you to
me.
do that.
Would you like to
So-
delve
Justice
deeper
Tarot.
into
The
One
Justice
of many
Tarot
possible
is
futures.
associated with Libra. So if there's any Libras in the chat. And that one's pretty self-explanatory. It's just about, like she said, actions and consequences. It's about fairness, the balance of life. You reap what you sow. Diplomacy.
And you.
Seeing multiple sides of a perspective. Or seeing multiple perspectives. Multiple sides of a perspective. What the fuck are you talking about, Justice? And the moon is associated with Pisces. We've already talked about this. You guys yelled at me because I said it was associated with Cancer. But I only said that because Cancer is ruled by the moon.
Okay.
So it's not that far off. But the moon tarot card is associated with Pisces. And that's all about...
oh, we're on ads now.
Oh,
Sorry.
damn.
We're on ads? Oh, no. Well, you can get ad-free viewing.
sorry.
Everyone here is subscriber. Okay, well, do you want to take a quick pause for the ad break and be right back in one second?
How long is the ad break?
It's not too long. We can just keep going.
Your choice.
Oh, I gotta
We're
make my
back
choice.
now.
Oops. All right. Do you want to see more about the Justice or the Moon? What do we think?
Let's see more about
Oh,
the
welcome
moon, since I
in,
didn't talk about
Raiders.
it.
Let's do the Moon. Yeah.
The moon.
Are you referencing that old video that came out like 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so glad you guys. We like
Oh,
the
shit.
moon.
The Quiznos commercial.
Oh, okay, I think we're talking about
it has
this.
this. No, I.
Then. Chop, chop.
About that.
One down, remember.
It's like
Because it is
information, right?
close to us.
Maybe we're talking about something else. I
I
think
think
I'm
we're
talking about the Quiznos ads.
Okay.
Still, though,
Also,
both
the,
seem like funny references about the moon, so why not?
What's that other show? What's the other show with old Greg? Boosh, the moon thing from
Mighty
that too.
Boosh.
I am the moon.
What's a Mighty Boosh? That sounds
Mighty Boosh
so
is classic.
familiar.
Oh, it's so
I'm all
good.
Greg.
You'll
Did you
be
guys
so
watch?
freaked out.
Did you guys watch
I'm
Pee
all
Wee at all?
Greg.
Pee-wee's Playhouse?
Yeah.
I loved Pee-wee's Playhouse as a
Oh,
child.
so good.
I know it scared some people, but it didn't scare me. I like
No, I
The
grew.
movie,
You know
the
what?
movie scared me.
I was gonna say Large
Where
Marge.
have you been for
That
the past
scared
2
the
months?
shit out
Yeah.
of me.
We
That
did
scared the shit out of
come
me too.
All right, wait, we're getting some story
one night
here.
early.
We're learning about
was our mistake.
what has happened.
I love this look, Laura. I think it's so sick.
Thank you.
You get swiped no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Alright.
Sure do. Always gonna have one eye.
Yeah, but it never mind.
All right, what's going on, game?
You're getting better at this, Zach.
I'm catching myself at least.
I know, it's
Yo,
the second
where-
time now. We
where-
should have a Zach catches himself before he spoils it
Oh, yeah,
counter.
you did just spoil it. That is another.
I
spoiler.
didn't. I didn't.
you said
though.
you get slashed.
swiped every time, don't you?
Oh,
But look
well,
at
he almost
we
spoiled
already,
it word.
but it already happened, didn't it? Oh no, it
No, we're
didn't.
about to learn.
Oh,
I
never mind.
honestly, I had no idea how she had the one eye, and I was really curious, and now it's ruined.
Well, you don't want to get
this
slashed
was
by.
my favorite chapter to play because I didn't know it all. To be honest,
Cool.
there was
That's awesome.
so much that I didn't like.
I was so glad we
read
got
the
to work
script, but
together.
some of the parts that I wasn't involved in, I was like, I'll save this for when I play the game.
Oh
Should we
my
call
god,
out?
the script was so long, dude. Are you kidding
Should we
me?
call out?
I did not read the
not gonna call
script. I'm
No
surprised you
way.
read the script.
No
I did not
way.
read the script. The script
Plus,
was
it-
400 pages. I did
Plus,
not.
like
read
1,000
the
More
script.
than
pages.
that, yeah.
It wouldn't have helped because in the story you don't know what's going on with the other characters, so it doesn't inform
Yeah.
your choices in any way, shape, or form. It's just busy work.
I never got your guys' parts of the script that I wasn't in.
Oh wow.
So, and I also keep in mind, I have not played the all the way through. So
Man.
everything I'm watching right now is.
Oh, is this your first time,
Greek to me.
Justice, for this part?
It's all new.
All right.
It's all new information. And now I know she gets swiped.
You see it?
This is cool. It starts like a new little. Never mind. I'm not gonna spoil
Story.
it again.
Zach spoiled.
It's fucking. I really am trying not to. It's very frustrating that I
Oh
can't.
yikes! Look
What
at
was that? What was that?
Mondays, am I right?
I wish I had sound. I just saw a bunch of blood splatter.
Oh shit.
Oh, kid.
Not throwing water on her. Okay. Chill out. You did not have to do that. That's extra.
What have you done to Max?
Shut up.
You can't just.
Shut
What? How are we gonna make Laura? Is she
This
gonna be
is an
defiant or
interrogation.
is she gonna be agreeable?
I asked.
She bad bitch, right?
She a bad bitch.
I think so. That makes sense to me. But this is, I mean, I'll let you steer the ship here, Siobhán.
No,
Yeah,
I
it's
like
your
angry
choice.
Laura.
I mean, eat shit. Can we get an eat shit in the? We get
Eat
can we get
shit.
an eat
Yeah,
shit
everyone
chat?
tell Miles to bombard Miles with eat shits right
shit.
now. I just want to see a million,
When I
please.
say name,
There we go.
you give me a
Just
name.
wanted to keep going, keep
Make
going, keep
myself
going.
clear?
You've got my license.
Millions
Can
of
you read?
eat shit.
And we gotta go sip, girl.
I'm an
Everyone take a
officer of
sip.
the law.
Drink some water. Stay
I need
hydrated.
you to do as you're told and answer the goddamned questions.
Nope. ACAB.
No, I meant the sound, not just tell him. Don't tell him.
We already
She
got
should
one.
be
We
compliant.
had a great
She
one.
should-
We already got one.
She should
Oh,
be
okay, good.
she should be compliant because the police should be respected.
Yeah, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Justice, do you want
This
me to
is-
just hold on? Let me just. Okay. So let's let's say
This
angry,
stream
I
is
don't
actually
care.
sponsored by the LAPD.
Okay, no, you're back, Justice. You're back.
Oh, now I'm not joking, bitch.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Lucy.
I'm not joking, bitch.
Thank you, Lucy.
Who? Wait,
Lucy.
who put the "I'm not joking, bitch"?
That's
meme
one. That's one of my
from
new sound
Drag
alerts.
Race?
That's one of my new sound alerts.
I love that.
On
It's so
Halloween. Thank you for the eat shit. On Halloween, Justice, I was all orange. I was a booba, and so I made a sound alert of, "Girl, you know how orange you look?" And then I also made one of "I'm not joking, bitch," and it was.
I'm not joking,
Yeah.
bitch.
It was good.
She did look really orange. Okay. Anyways,
I love to think that. I love
Someone's
to
gotta
think that
vote
she's
here.
just been sitting
care
here
what you
waiting
want.
to answer this whole time.
No.
This isn't legal. I want a lawyer.
Stop! You need to shut your mouth and listen to me, or there's going to be a
Look how
Boo.
orange you fucking look.
Do we have a problem?
Those fingers look crazy.
those fingers. Sheriff from North Kill.
Oh, he's from North Hick Kill.
North Kid.
I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, "Stop." What?
Okay.
I'm going. I mean, I
Alright,
go full.
Justice.
I go full
Got you.
ACAB here. Thank you. For
Wait,
the
I'm
blessing.
sorry, I
Sheriff's
forgot.
badge
Ah.
doesn't mean a whole lot if you don't believe in the law.
You should go full Reese Witherspoon getting
Excuse me?
arrested like 10 years ago.
We didn't do.
Do you guys
anything.
remember
Reese,
that?
don't
Reese
remember
was
that.
You
arrested.
wrote
No.
this up. Explain that.
I didn't know
Reese
that.
Witherspoon got arrested, and she says,
Do you have any idea
"Ah,
what kind of
this
shit
is America."
Oh my
This is
god,
the
wait,
land-
I've seen that. I've seen that video. It's
I am
there's
an
video of it,
American.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, I
What
know
is
what
that?
you're
What is that
talking
supposed to
about.
mean?
She's just talking about how she doesn't deserve to be arrested.
Isn't
because
it
she's
crazy?
American.
You know what's crazy too? The amount of celebrities that have hit people with their car and killed them and just have normal lives. Like nothing
Crazy.
has happened to them.
Wait, Reese didn't kill anybody. Reese killed.
No,
her.
Reese did.
Reese
I don't
did-
think
yeah,
Oh,
Reese,
he
be
didn't
careful
say-
with your
Dude,
accusations.
No,
Okay.
not her, but I was
Miles, can we
segueing
keep
into something
track-
else.
Can we keep track?
Got
that
it.
Zach needs to apologize to Reese Witherspoon tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, right. I have
He's
to
gonna
write
do a
Reese
notes app
a letter now.
apology. All right, Laura's angry. Please,
Angry.
Fuck this cop. I mean, that's my choice. I
Went-
don't know about y'all.
I went
but-
through a phase where I was really into two types of. There was one which was the. Have you seen the people who get people for stolen valor, and they just run up to people and accuse them of stolen valor?
I have not.
Do you know what I'm talking
But
about?
this is definitely
What's
checking
stolen
off
valor?
the bingo card. We're gonna
Those-
have a few.
Or the. Am I being detained? Am I being detained? Those videos.
You just
Are some of
Am
my
I
favorites.
being
You can't
detained?
tell me
I mean,
what the
those
Where
are-
like
I've never
there's,
seen
like,
either of those.
pull over.
What the hell attacked us last
Oh.
night, and why did you arrest us?
I've
you
never
goddamn
seen either of
maniac?
those videos.
Take me to Max.
Oh.
Here we go.
Break
There we
down.
go, Laura. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, Siobhán.
Did we choose?
Show
did we
this cop
choose,
who's boss. I
Hey,
like
Cap.
Laura bad bitch.
What?
I like I really like the sweater too. God, the fit is
Siobhán,
fantastic.
Siobhán,
I
Siobhán,
know.
I have a question for you, Siobhán.
Tell me.
What did you have to do to get into the mindset of an American?
Ooh, are we lashing out?
Oh wow. Lash out. Fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Lash out. A
Yeah.
cap.
Yes,
What did I have to
ACAB,
do?
Let's go. Oh, no quick time.
Kick him in the knee.
I wish if only there was a quick time event where you could just beat
Always
the shit out of
wins.
this cop.
It's the harsh reality. The game's a metaphor.
You know what? Justice, I don't know if I can answer that question without
The system's rigged.
requiring an official apology next stream.
I'm down.
It's okay.
You should. Yeah. I think America deserves it. So.
What the fuck's going
Yeah,
on?
go ahead.
Max!
I know you hear me.
Just had to be a lot more obnoxious and arrogant and stop saying "a," I guess.
Drag us. Drag all of us.
Real talk. Ted's character definitely does a lot of illegal stuff here. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think Ted's character is an actual cop.
Yeah.
you think he's posing?
I think he's a poser.
I mean, but you think the cops don't do illegal stuff all the time? That's like their whole job.
Oh, of course.
That's
But like,
true.
there's many. Like, he's just. These people are literally captive.
Yeah.
Like, just straight up captive.
So you're starting to get it.
Max screaming at him's not gonna happen.
so it's starting.
Oh, and that's the
Just
American
seven.
justice system. There we go. Starting to click.
There you go.
It's starting to click.
The only thing that's missing is that him forcing them to make license plates for like
Why
3
am I
cents
naked?
an
Or
hour.
no, for yeah.
Hell yeah.
Wow, you were going somewhere else with that.
Oh no.
I thought you were
Yes.
going somewhere else with that too. But why
The
does
next thing I
Max
know,
have
I'm
no
waking up in a
shirt
jail
on?
cell and you're gone.
Well,
And now
that's
you're
what-
back
that's what I'm
again,
wondering.
and I'm super naked, and
He's
there's blood
he's wondering
Just
too.
you wait.
everywhere.
Yeah.
He's like, what's that all about?
Why am I
What the
naked?
fuck happened?
Coinage.
Yeah.
You idiots! Max just gets berated all game.
I was kind of hoping you could tell me what happened.
I feel like I remember
I
bits and
know.
pieces, but none of it makes any sense.
They're dating, right?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I feel like were we drugged? I feel like maybe
They're,
we were
this is
drugged.
the
By a
most
cop?
basic questions.
Do they do that?
He's a boy, right? And
Who does
she's a
this
girl.
guy think he is?
Sheriff of North Kill, apparently.
North Kill?
Yeah. Max,
What?
did you even look at the map?
Dummy.
Hackett's Quarry in North Kill. That's the town.
So
Yeah.
interesting seeing this happen without a hat.
And it gets better. I
Oh
gotta
wait,
look
no,
at
I
his
guess I
name
don't have a
badge
hat on at
and-
this point anyway. Never mind.
I like the idea of you like I was performing it as though I had a hat. So this really
She made the artistic
they
choice
really screwed me
to
over.
wear a hat.
They were like, "That's me."
They really
Get dressed.
What's he giving you?
I'm not gonna be the guest of honor at Fashion Week, I'll tell you that much.
Hey, did I say you could talk to each other?
what?
I love how broad my shoulders are.
It's almost like when you give people a certain amount of power, it goes to their head.
Yeah.
That happens? What?
Aren't you Italian, Zach? You should know.
You mean Mr. Musa Creamy?
Musiki.
I wasn't aware we needed your permission, Detective.
I will provide
David.
milk to everyone.
Free country, Officer Oat.
I've never had to read so much and so fast. It's been.
I know. I wish you could hear the sound.
It's been.
It's all in the voices, you know. It's all in the
I chose
powerful,
to-
like extract.
Wait, is there not a way? Okay,
Hands through
I
the
might
bars.
need to
I chose to be an actor so I didn't have to read.
Read.
Wait, are
you have to read
guys
scripts
not
all the
hearing
time.
sound right now?
No.
Wait, I'm gonna see if there's a way. I'm gonna see if there's a
Have
way
them all
here.
transcribed to me.
Your turn.
I have other people.
Johnny, that is
acted
what I'm
out,
doing, but
and
I'm
then
not
I
sharing
copy
sound.
it.
I don't know if. Hold on, I'm gonna ask the mods.
Hey,
Let go of me!
Leg, sweep the leg. He missed it.
Come on,
He had a
move.
chance there.
Get the fuck off of me!
hey,
Don't touch me.
stop struggling.
Leave him alone.
Nerd.
Do we?
Oh.
Leave him alone.
Hey, leave him alone.
Yeah, leave me alone, asshole.
Both of you shut up.
Fuck you.
I said shut up.
Fuck you.
Hey, hey, you can't treat us like this. You're hurting it. Hey.
It's funny.
What did
this
you?
Same,
Did you? Go, Justice.
This same scene, start of a porn I watched like a couple days ago.
There's gotta be something.
Forget. What?
Wait,
I
which
usually
part?
skip this part. Ooh, we got the world. All right, who wants to?
I'm gonna leave it right
Who
there.
wants to read it? Justice, you want to read it?
Okay, the world.
Wait, you gotta do ASMR. Remember.
Often travelers. Honestly, it's so tiny.
Oh, God,
Okay, you don't have to do it.
It's so tiny. I can't read it.
Okay.
Damn.
Do you want me to? Or shit. You know what?
Oof.
There's got to be a better way to do this. I'm asking to see if I'm gonna
We
see
am
how
Gollum voice.
I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to share everything a little bit better to you guys on the Discord. But let me who wants to read it if it's too tiny? for
Siobhán,
this?
everyone wants Siobhán to read it. So
Siobhán, go.
you should read it.
That makes sense.
Should I read it in Gollum voice?
Yes.
Yeah,
read it.
There were
Probably.
people got excited when Siobhán read.
Okay, I can barely read this because I'm not wearing my glasses, so we'll see what happens. The world. Often travelers' paths are direct, but sometimes it is not so simple. Sometimes they are intertwined with others. Compassion over anger. You'll need friends where you're going. It is not until we fall into the belly of the beast that we realize how perilous things can be, eh?
Hey.
Beautiful.
Hell
Hey,
yeah.
I added a.
Hey.
Wait,
really
that
did
was
it.
Gollum? That was
No,
Gollum?
that would be like often travelers paths. I can't do it anymore. I used to be so good at it.
I like that. Wait, dude.
Wow.
Okay,
Where
for
is it?
context,
Oh, you go for it.
the
Justice.
world
Yeah.
card, the world card has to do with completion. I don't think it's associated with any sign.
Ooh.
But if you see in the four corners, there are four figures, and those four figures represent the four fixed signs. So in the bottom right corner is the lion, which represents Leo. In the top left corner, that represents Aquarius.
Is it
In
a
the top
warthog
right
on the
corner-
top right?
No, that represents Taurus. And then in the bottom
Raven.
left,
I think that's a raven.
Taurus is a warthog?
Taurus is
put my
a.
glasses
okay, so
on.
this isn't the
What?
traditional. I thought that was a bull too, but this isn't the traditional rider weight illustration.
Are you talking about the
In the-
top right?
In the traditional, the
No, it's a
raven, the raven usually is represented as an eagle. When an eagle usually is represented by Scorpio, and then the bottom left, which should be a bull, not a wolf. I don't know. Usually represents Taurus.
Yeah, calling you
Um,
Supermassive Games. Who was your who did you hire for your department for tarot cards, huh?
No,
They
no,
did a
no,
good
no,
job.
don't take it out.
Yeah, what are you talking
There's
about?
there's so many different illustrations in tarot, so
You're
it
right, you're right,
really
you're right.
is.
Sorry.
It's
I got a little heated for a
dependent
second.
All
on-
right, so Zach has another apology to give.
Yeah, add that to the
All right,
notes
I'll
app.
add Supermassive to the list.
We have to
But the world
apologize
has to do with
for this.
completion. Completion.
Nice.
Completion.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, so I am trying to figure out how to share this sound with y'all. And I'm gonna see if I can do that right now. I think it's about time for us to take a quick break too. And then we're gonna get back into
time for a break.
So everyone have a great time pissing, and use
How many? Wait, before we go, how many apologies am I on?
a
3.
few, I think.
Oh, someone just said
Reese?
Supermassive Games, Reese Witherspoon, and the sexualizing dolphin tits.
Yeah,
And
that
tits in
was a
general.
big, yeah, that was a big one.
That's the number one.
Abdominal
apology.
slits.
Thank you,
Okay.
Apologize to the dolphin community.
I'm sorry,
Apologize to the
dolphins.
All right, sorry, Dolphins. We love you, and just keep swimming away. Everyone have a great break. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
See you soon. Bye bye.
And we're back, and it's a little, and I didn't do that right. Something got hacked up. Hi, Siobhán.
Hey, I'm Legolas.
Hi.
Slash Pip.
Oops.
Hi.
So sorry, everybody. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're back, and we, I think, are about to be able to get Justice back into the game now. So that's great news.
Miles, I can't see you. Also, I don't know if everyone else can see you, but I can't see you. I can't see
I
the
can see
stream.
you on the Twitch. I can't see you on.
Oh
Discord.
no! Oh no! What have I done? Oh, yeah, let me just turn on my camera. Oh. Ay. Oh, now it's just me.
On all of us. Oh.
How rude.
Classic, right?
Andy muted himself.
Classic. Okay, hold on.
Oh my god. Justice, I
Okay.
cannot get enough of that shirt.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Siobhán.
Dude, it was like made for you. Is
Very
it from
good.
like a
Okay.
cool vintage store?
I don't even remember where I got it. I think someone gave it to me.
Miles struggling right
Look
now.
at what's happened. Look at what's happened. This shouldn't be like
Miles
this.
just Miles and a bunch of bears.
I thought that I had this all set up. Is this what's happening? Oh no. It should be working. It really should be.
Technical difficulties.
Oh my god. What's that? You see, this is what happened when I tried to fix it and then I made it worse. Yikes. Okay.
Whoever
One second,
made that
everybody.
bingo card, can we make that bingo card available to everybody? Whichever amazing mod made that, so that everyone can fill it out. I don't even know if you can hear me now.
Wait, what did you say?
Oh, I just said if whoever made the bingo should make it available to everyone because it's amazing.
I don't have it, but it
Go
was in
for
the.
it. You guys
I
can
saw
do
it
it.
somewhere.
Okay. Well,
I posted it in my story.
Okay, I got you guys back on the screen. We're back on the screen. I'm gonna fix this again. Oh god. Hi, Justice. All right.
Oh, we're back.
All right, I'm getting it back. Okay, so that's that, and then I gotta set this one up real quick.
Ah.
So this was the issue was I was trying to make it work Justice for your audio thing, but I fucked up and it made it worse. But what we're gonna do now is and then we lost a couple people here.
My God, why'd you lose
geez.
me?
Wow.
This is horrible. Okay, hold on. Okay. So that's Zach. Okay, Zach is back. And
Yay.
now Siobhán is back. Great. Okay, everything's cool. We're good. Everyone's happy. Yay. Okay, back to the chat for a second. So sorry about that, everybody. We are going to see if we can get Justice in the game now. Justice, did you open up the game?
How are we feeling about that? You want to get another poll of if we're gonna finish the game?
Oh, everybody voted that we were not going to.
Okay.
Everyone knows.
Yes.
Oh my
that's
God,
not
the
gonna
host has
happen.
left the session.
Yeah, I left the session so I can invite Justice.
Oh, okay.
Don't
Did
worry.
you invite me?
Not yet. Hold on. Let's see.
You invited me an hour ago.
Okay, but I'm inviting you again. Here we go. You're invited. You're invited. You're invited.
Pebblbrained, thank you for the killer bingo cards. They are so great.
And would like to take another second to thank Gracie Margarita, It's Damita, Sarah Universe, Our Nower, Two Turtle Fall, Pokemat. Thank you very much for these subs and the support to the channel. Really appreciate that. I'm echoing.
So, like I thought, I cannot play multiplayer unless I have the full game installed.
Oh no.
So it says you need to have a
Said
complete
that.
installation story to play online. Yep.
How much
you
left
wanted-
for the
Let's look. 1 hour and 37 minutes.
Oh no.
I think this stream I'm just gonna be making jokes and
Hey,
chilling out.
Miles, will you invite me again?
Yes.
Zach, what are you drinking?
I'm echoing
Chat,
I'm
I want to
echoing
know.
in someone's
Just agua.
thing, by the way.
I'm drinking tea.
Zach, you need to put your headphones back in.
Oh, it's me.
You see?
Justice has an emergency and Justice has to go and we'll be back in about 3 minutes.
Was that okay? I didn't know that he was talking to the third person.
Yeah, I was so confused.
I was confused for a second.
Thank you for sticking with us, everybody. You are great.
Thank you, Siobhán.
Oh,
Siobhán,
yeah,
do you want to do
Jeff.
some crowd work? Buy us some time.
Crowd
Yeah,
work.
do your
Let's
stand-
So where are you guys from?
Do a stand-up show. Oh, what was the joke that I read the other day that was really
All right,
bad?
I'm gonna do Siobhán, I don't know if I told you. I think I told Miles about this. I have this character. He's this guy named Johnny No Penis. So I'm gonna do a little stand-up comedy routine as him.
Justice, come back, please.
Thank you
Justice,
so much,
Yeah.
ladies and
Justice,
gentlemen.
please come back.
All right.
I like how Zach was like, Siobhán, I got this. Don't worry.
What is it? You know, every time you go home and your
please.
mom's making food, you're like, Mom, you made too much food. I can't eat all of this food. You know how big stomachs are. And she, nobody biting on that one. All right. Moving on.
That was.
I have an important.
I didn't realize it was.
I have an important question for you.
What?
So have you lived your whole life? Like, where are you from? Because you have like a New York Italian accent. What's your story?
I'm just kind of around it a lot, but like, I don't
Johnny
know.
No Penis is not accurate representation
of it. But I am Italian.
I know.
No, stop saying in the joke, Miles.
I thought you were talking about Johnny No Penis.
No. I mean Zach.
Oh, you want to know what Johnny No Penis is from?
God.
Huh?
No, I want to know where your your isms are from.
I come from a little small town up in the Bronx. You know, my ma, she worked at a school. She was a janitor there. My father was a butcher. He was known for his roast beef. He had a. Sorry, I get a little emotional when I talk about my father. He was a big part of my life. He was known for his roast beef. It's the best. And the prosciutto. Oh, Maron, that I go really far with the characters. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I guess I'm not gonna get a straight answer from you on
That's
this.
okay,
so
Zach.
that's all right.
I have my
Secret Zach.
He's from Los Angeles. Is the answer.
I grew up in LA. Yeah, I grew up in LA. But it's weird though. Yes, I have a twang that comes out from time to time. I don't know why. But I know what you're talking about.
All right, I have a question, Zach. There's a fruit that is the same. It's named after a color, or the color's named after the fruit. What's that fruit?
Yes.
Orange.
Okay, so that's so there you go.
Orange.
So that's he does not have the accent.
You're right.
You say orange.
That's the true test. Orange.
You
like those oranges?
When I went to I don't have a thick New York or Northeast or whatever accent, but when I went to college, I learned that I did because everyone else thought I was crazy for not saying orange. Like
you say orange?
I say orange, and I just thought that I never heard the accent in that, and I don't have a super thick accent. But
I feel like you don't have an accent at all, except when you say orange.
There you go.
Say the word HORRIBLE.
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 It's horrible. Yeah, I don't say horrible.
Horrible.
Yeah.
But you're
also
not horrible. You're like between.
I say horrible. It's horrible.
Horrible.
It's horrible. It's orange. It's foreign. It's Florida. It's
foreign.
Florida.
It's Florida. It's not and that's what I learned. I learned that's my accent is in the O.
I feel like
to A.
I feel like I even say like orange. I feel like I don't say orange or horrible. I say like horrible or orange.
It's
okay.
Horrible.
But you're from Eastern Canada?
Western.
No,
wait.
Western.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Then I don't know. You're just weird.
But I don't know. Alberta, where I'm from, is like the accent's pretty American. Like Ontario and those places, that's where everyone's like, "Oh, what are you all about?"
I know that's
all right,
my.
It's time for the accent challenge. Chat. Let's get an accent challenge. What accents do we want us to give it a shot?
I'm from Orange County, so I have an Orange County accent.
All right.
I'm from Orange County, dude. Is Orange County called like this?
In Orange County, we say this. We go, "What's up, bro? You want to go catch some waves, bro?"
We're getting so many. It's hard to even.
Okay, I'm seeing a
Oh
lot.
my god.
I'm not seeing anyone requesting Jamaican, but I'll do my Jamaican accent real
On pourrait
quick.
parler en français.
Welsh is super hard. Welsh is
Alright,
a
so
beautiful accent.
my Jamaican accent, here it is. It's Balekte. Was that good? Did that work? Was that good?
Was that English?
That was good.
Balekte. Is my there we go. Thank you for the black day, Kara.
Balekte.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good.
Let's do.
Oh my gosh.
We have a request for Butch Queen realness. We have a request for German.
The German.
Okay, here's
Want
my.
to see us play the Quarry and
Here's my German accent is there is excuse me, there is a line. How is that? Excuse me, there's a line. There's a line.
You have to get behind me.
Excuse
There's a line
me?
here. You have to get behind me. I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Who put the goldfish in the bowl?
Wow, who put the goldfish in the bowl? Okay.
Where did that come
On that
from?
note,
That was like
let's see.
more
let's
French
see.
than German.
Can we get a poll? Can we get a who put the goldfish in
Go
the
for it.
in
You
the
guys
in the
can do
bowl?
Who put this
And I want to know. I want
to
to know who put the goldfish in the bowl. I want chat to vote. I want it to be a 10-minute poll. And this has been long enough. Let's get back to the game. Oh wait, you're not in the game yet, Siobhán.
Oh, whoops, sorry. I didn't realize that
Get
this was
on it.
happening.
Yeah, Tyler, that's a good call. A minimum of 3 apologies for everyone on the accents. That's okay. I accept it.
I didn't do a single accent, so I don't have to apologize for nothing.
Australian accent. I just once again I'm just gonna say, oi, you're 100 meters from Macca's, and you're barefoot. Which would you rather take on, the bendy grass or the hot sand? How was that? I read that on a McDonald's cup once in Australia.
I thought that
Wait,
was
so good. Very good.
All right.
I think my favorite accent to do is like a super chavvy, like,
Oi! The host player gets final say on all choices while the wolf pack waits for their favourite option.
Okay.
That was like a character.
Okay. Okay,
That's
so
like
we're gonna... Okay. Thank you everybody
It's my
for
inner
hanging with us on all these.
Miles, we could bring Bryson back, dude.
Bryson, dude. Yeah, Bryson. I retired Bryson for a sec, but I'll bring him back when we play Overwatch later, dude. Uh-oh, he's getting his Bryson wig, everybody. Be careful.
We're all transferring Zach's save data to
We're all
our
taking-
PS.
Don't look at my porn!
Can you guys
We're
do
taking a
Scottish?
save.
Scottish is so hard. I'm stuck on the accent game now.
Scottish.
Oh, you guys want to go
I
for
don't
a
know.
pint?
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
All right, guest. Okay, let's see. Here we go. It's Bryson. Look, everybody, it's Bryson.
What's up, guys? We're playing some video games or something. What's up, dudes?
Oh my god,
What
you sound
is
you sound
happening?
exactly like Eduardo Franco from Stranger Things, the pizza guy.
Who
Dude,
do I
love
sound like?
Eduardo. I love Eduardo.
Me too.
He's great.
Have you met him? Have you worked with him?
I didn't work with him, but
Nice.
I spent like a few weeks on a set of something he was working on. With a friend.
Nice.
Who's working with him.
We did a pilot together.
Was it
He's so
American?
funny.
What is American Vandal?
What?
Was it American Vandal that you were working on?
No.
Your friends was.
No.
Oh, okay, because he was in that too. So I thought maybe.
What
you're
the
talk-
fuck is happening?
Well, the town of North
There's so much
Australia,
blood
they're
on me right
sleeping.
now.
The hag in
Wow.
the woods
Why is Zach wearing a wig?
As the bodies decay, the wolves hunt their prey.
Because-
and the
wait,
share-
Dude, I don't
There's
even
a
know.
poem,
I
there's
don't
a
even
poem.
know who you're talking about, dude. This is.
All right. Speaking of accents, does anyone want to do this limerick as in your best Irish accent?
I
Wig
got
boy.
you.
Yes.
This,
Yeah, wig
this,
Somebody
this
Bryson.
is
Bryson.
With
you
an
wanna-
Irish accent, someone do it.
Bryson can try to
Oh, it
do
doesn't.
an Irish accent.
Oh damn, it's not.
Okay, he just went away.
It went. Well, it's not there.
Alright.
It's the clue. It doesn't say the poem.
I'll try to read it off the wall. Oh, you didn't even pause it in time. If you go back, maybe I could
So
read
it's
the
okay.
wall.
Yeah.
All right. While the reign of, I mean, I'm supposed to be like Irish, you said, or something.
Yeah. Do your best Irish.
Yeah.
Or something. Or something.
You gotta get that
Alright.
lilt to like
Irish.
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 What?
You guys-
Irish.
The North Kill.
That's
Italy
Scottish.
sleeping.
No.
The heck.
Yeah, you go.
I'm trying to do 2 accents at once. All right. I'm trying to do a character doing an accent. I'm doing the best I can right now. Just give me a break.
I think it's good, Zach.
The net
Oh my God.
the wood started sleeping as the bodies
totally-
decay. The wolves hunt. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm not. I'm not.
It's like
very
a
good at-
Russian Scottish hybrid.
Hunt the prey, and the scarif continues his scraping.
100% like Russian.
Nailed it,
I love
dude.
it.
Freaking nailed it.
Who
Oh my
who
God.
scratched this in the wall? That's what I want to know.
Kyle, bro.
A leprechaun.
He's always wilding out, sketching limericks and shit.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it was your mom. Oh.
Why are you talking about my mom, dude? And her limericks. Leave her limericks out of this.
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Yo, your mom's got some sweet limericks, dude.
All right, Laura needs a lever. Do we want to use this?
Lord. Lever.
Do you want to use this spoon? I don't like the. I don't like the.
Wouldn't you?
spoon
Wouldn't
is in
you need
here.
a lever to lever? Wouldn't you need a lever though if you're gonna lever something out? How could you use a
Like a-
spoon?
That could work. You can.
old trowel? Oh man, what's that?
A spoon's a type of lever.
I don't like. What's
What do you
been
mean?
going
A
on in-
spoon's utensil. A spoon's an utensil.
An intensibles.
So mad right now.
A
You're mad?
What? How are you? What
Why
are you
are you
talking
mad?
about? A spoon's an utensil.
Because Zach is saying a tinsel, and I'm just supposed to accept that. I'm just supposed to accept that that's what's happening, and I refuse to accept that as my reality.
Are you not accustomed to streaming with Zach by now? Just
Dude, what
No.
do you? Dude, what are you talking? Dude, forks are one of my favorite utensils.
an intensil. Oh my god. I'm gonna start using that in real life.
Lose easily. Max, give me a posture check. Oops.
Posture check.
All right, I'm gonna have to.
Is it weird that-
if Bryson's here, I'm gonna have to probably crack
The
a
second we
brew.
get out of here, you're toast, motherfucker.
Please,
With the
dude.
bro, yeah. I'll be,
I'm just drinking water because I have so much liver damage from the amount of alcohol and protein I consume.
Oh no. Okay, fuck. Are we fearful or are we aggressive?
You guys can do it.
I'm kind of scared at this point.
B. Aggressive. B.
I'm kind of scared at this point, though. I'm gonna say fearful. It's up to you, Siobhán. Okay.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Hey! What the fuck is that supposed to mean, asshole?
Good soundtrack moment, gotta say. Really
I
nice
was gonna
soundtrack
say
moment.
that. I love that.
Hey, you can't just leave us in here!
Wait, I thought you made it so I could hear.
I was
so I
trying
guess-
justice and it ruined everything, and I am sorry. I'm really sorry.
All right.
But we
That's
have.
fine.
If it's done in an hour, then you can still second half of the stream. You'll be able to do it, right?
Okay.
It's okay.
I'm
just
sorry,
just my
Justice.
acting that you're missing.
I'm not joking, bitch.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, I mean, I guess it'll be on a delay if you listen to the stream. I'm sorry. I couldn't figure out the right way to do it with the streaming of the audio to you. So I'm sorry. I
Are we being
apologize.
serious or
I'm
playful?
gonna do the notes app.
You-
Apology.
Dude, are you being serious right now?
I want to see how long I can commit to this bit
How'd it
before
go
it
in
starts
there?
becoming obnoxious
You
and
sing
ridiculous.
like
I
a
may have already
canary?
crashed
Starts?
that
Nothing to
threshold.
sing about.
There we go. Yeah, that's what I was
I'm
worrying
sure you've
about.
got
All right.
plenty
I'm just gonna
to
go ahead and
confess.
break the character
No,
real
no, no.
quick.
Zach,
That may be
just
true,
1 second.
but I don't think he's
I
too
like the
interested in how he
character.
cheated off Mikey
Ari,
Washington in 8th grade
I'm
Cav.
kidding, guys. Milton.
Really though. What happened?
Bree, I came back. I'm cool.
Me and Laura have the same question.
Yeah.
What is happening?
He just asked a lot of questions.
So
A lot of
incredible.
weirdly specific questions about us and where we're going and why and how I was feeling this morning, and I don't know. Nothing I said made him seem any less annoyed.
He asked how you were feeling?
Yeah. Why, he didn't ask you?
No.
He's just nice, dude.
Rude.
Someone's feedback is coming in and it's making. I could hear it just for that.
I know, it's
like,
nice.
Those 30 seconds. I could finally hear
That
it.
was me. Do you want to hear it?
That was very nice.
Yeah, but it's gonna fuck everyone else's audio up.
All right, bros. What's up? I'm back.
Oh, hey, did you?
Oh, dude.
Who's this now?
Name badge?
What's
Who is
up,
this?
bro?
It's not really Detective Dick
Who is
Whippet.
this?
What's up? It's Bryson.
Hackett.
I thought he was Bryson.
We're both Bryson.
We're
Dude.
both
You think he's related to
Bryson,
Chris
dude.
Hackett?
We're all Brysons.
like
That's
Chris
what you
Hackett?
don't get.
Yeah.
At the end of the
Who's
day,
the
when you
Chris
break
Hackett?
it down at a subhuman particle
As
level,
in
like
camp leader, Mr.
we're all
Hackett
just Bryson.
of Hackett's Quarry, remember?
I'm so mad.
Last night
I'm
feels like a
so
lifetime
mad
ago.
at both of you.
The fuck does that mean, though? You
Not
know?
me.
Where we set up?
Not Siobhán.
Siobhán, you could turn the tides
Maybe it's some
and access your
kind
inner
of crazy
Bryson.
camp
Just
counselor
Brysona.
kidnapping ring.
That's...
yeah, Bryson.
Yes,
I mean-
let's go.
Yeah,
Bryson.
there we go, dude.
I hate this. Brysonina.
Bryson, dude. What's up, Bryson? Are we suspicious or are we reflective of this moment? Reflective, we would say he is not acting like a kidnapper.
Yeah,
Suspicious.
Bryson, because you did this character, I would like to know what you'd like to do here.
Yeah, Bryson, what do you want to do here, Bryson?
Bryson, it's totally your call, bro.
Okay, sick, Bryson. Let's say, maybe, I don't know. Like, maybe it's time to be reflective.
Is her name? Wait, is her name
shit.
Bryson too? Is she also Bryson?
We're
Is
all
it-
Bryson.
yeah,
Sheriff Hackett's
We're
not
all
exactly
Bryson.
acting
Join
like
us.
a typical
Is the
kidnapper.
gender binary Bryson and Bryson?
No, you gotta get out of that mindset.
How do you know how kidnappers
Gotta
act?
expand
Bryson
how
X
you look
mindset.
at existence.
Stop
Okay,
putting
Justice.
limits on
How you
everything,
get
bro.
out of
bro.
here,
Same
and I can't get us
Bryson,
out of here until
bro.
I have some clue of
Expand
what
your
the fuck
consciousness,
we're doing.
Justice.
The
You live in
singularity,
rule
which
by
is Bryson.
rules.
What? Well, you have to.
I'm so mad.
Sometimes things just don't
Just
make
because of the
sense.
constraints of society,
What
bro.
then?
You just fucked with your head.
We're just stuck in a backwater jail cell for the rest of our lives?
Bryson. So was it Bryson?
Bryson.
They added- Bryson.
Yo, I'm Bryson.
Bryson.
All right.
Are your
I hate
screens
it.
like, is she jiggling on your screen too?
Yeah, she's
She's
a
like
little jiggly.
Yeah, what's
She
going
is
on with your
Jello
jiggle, dude?
jiggly jellin'.
I was just really
love-
nervous when I did
So-
this scene.
Wait,
Sick, bro.
Why are you
someone said
jiggling
that
so much?
the neo-pronouns are Bryson and Bryson self.
Bryson self?
Bryson self.
Oh my
The
god.
gender binary.
I like it. I like it. The bride children. The Brideverse. Yeah.
Their binary is really good.
The Bryce CU.
I feel
The
like
Bryson
needs a little
cinematic
better.
universe.
Yeah, I have to turn off my heater. I'm getting really hot.
This isn't forever, Max. You can't just hold us here
That
forever.
doesn't work.
You didn't seem too convinced of that.
I also am
gotta
just
stay
sad because
positive.
because
You
I can't
can't
hear
think
it. I
like
can't
that.
see all the
Why
wonderful
not?
acting that Siobhán
Might
and
as well just accept it,
Skylar are
right?
doing.
No, fuck
They're
that.
really great together. There's some great lines.
Think about the rest
Did
of
the
the
son of
summer,
a blank
Max.
blank
And school?
already happen?
I mean,
Yeah.
I've been dreaming
Oh, it did?
about becoming a vet since I was
Yeah.
5 years old. I'm not gonna
Oh.
let this fleabag fuck
Son of a
You
banky
just missed it?
donkey.
Yeah.
It was like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, bros,
gotta
we
get
got
out
a
of
little too
here.
distracted. We got to zone
I'm
in
gonna
and
study
really
to be a
focus on the
vet,
game,
and
all right?
You gotta
Don't
walk
end.
in.
This is an
Like the
this
famous
is a lesson
kid
in
said.
acting, you guys.
I'm gonna what?
Oh no, I have.
Why does
an
everyone
FPV.
keep saying Binky
I saw the
Bonky?
letter, Max.
What are you
It's
talking
because
about?
there's a line
Rejection
where
letter for college. Found it in your
Max
bag.
kicks the
You were poking
pole
around in my stuff?
in the jail
I can't
cell,
believe you didn't tell me.
and he says "son of a binky bonky."
I
You know,
was
I think I'm
embarrassed.
gonna have to play through this whole game
Your
again,
grades were
like just
good,
by
and you wrote
myself,
a
so I
great
can
essay?
actually
Apparently not
Missed a
good enough.
lot.
watch it. I've missed so much. I've never seen these scenes, and now I'm just
You've been making
seeing like
plans,
a
Max. What the
muted
fuck?
I don't know. What do you want
version.
me to say?
I bet this conversation's amazing.
It's very good.
Bro, I've got to say,
Make
this,
it,
actually-
I can just give it.
she's
to you. Do you want me to
jiggling
just
so
give you all
bro,
my
This
lines.
is what we do. Yeah. So here's the thing, Siobhán. I mean, Bryson.
Yeah.
You read your
So-
lines, and
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
read for Max. Or me.
Wait,
Oh,
you just
perfect.
me. What are you talking? Wait, oh, are you talking to Bryson?
I was talking to Bryson. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you. I
Okay.
thought you said
All right,
Bryson.
so Bryson,
But
you
just
ready?
said
Let's
Bryson,
do
okay,
this.
go.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Oh,
No,
you meant Bryson. Got it.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah,
Oh,
no,
I
me,
got-
right? What's
No, I
which
meant
Bryson?
You,
There's
Bryson.
3 of
You,
us.
Bryson.
Me?
You,
Yeah.
Bryson. Yes.
Oh, Bryson. I thought you said Bryson. Sorry.
Everyone's like, Justice, hang in there.
This
Oh
is
my
really. This is Scott testing me.
All right, I gotta do a new character now. I have to do Skylar. So
Yeah. Cool. Get into it. Get into it.
I'll switch up characters too. Hey guys, how's it going?
sorry, Max.
I
Wait,
just
wait.
I'm sorry,
love
Max.
golf.
This
Hold on,
really sucks.
yeah.
This really sucks. Wait.
hey,
Sorry.
it's not
Should
the
I
worst
say
thing
it
to
like
happen
Laura
this
or like
summer.
Bryson? Okay.
I'm sorry.
Siobhán is
have
having an
kept it from
identity
you.
crisis.
You know you can talk to me about anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
That there's nothing to do with this fucking cell. Okay. Let's just
Great, sign me up.
just stop laughing. We need to go over it from the beginning. Wait, am I doing Bryson
Like,
or Laura?
from
Tell
when
me.
we left home. So after we
doing
ran
both.
into that,
Bryson, okay.
whatever we
Okay.
ran into,
Yeah, actually, yeah. This one shit started getting weird.
There's a comment that just said, "Who is Bryson? I don't understand what's going on."
I'm
Neither do
Skylar
you.
now. Okay?
Neither the fuck
I'm
do
Skylar. Okay.
Hitting a
we're
pothole?
moving on. I'm Skylar. Okay.
Okay.
I'm Skylar.
I
You
think
can
he
be
probably
Siobhán.
knew we were lying. He was acting really strange.
What if he's not even a real cop?
Well, he's gonna be dirty, but I mean, I think he's a real cop.
I mean,
We're in a police station.
yeah, but there's nobody else around.
Yeah, but he's holding us against our will.
Yeah, that is concerning.
Especially the whole Hackett thing. Let's just go with the idea that they're both in on it. So we're supposed to meet Chris
Okay.
Hackett at the camp, and instead there's nobody there, and we get attacked by something, and then the cop shows up.
Oh, it's all fuzzy for me. Like, I remember the steps, and it smelled like wet fur, and a dog collar with the name Ian on it.
Ian? I don't
I
think it was a
don't-
dog that attacked
Ian,
us. Whatever
dog
it
boy.
was very big, a person-sized big.
Yeah, it really did a number on you. Like, I'm surprised. Oh, fuck. I vividly remember Thing's teeth ripping into you. And I was like, should I help him? I don't know.
What is messed up about that is, Laura,
I need a mod
I
where you
don't
do that
have a
fucking voice the
scratch
whole
on
time.
me.
That voice is so good.
What?
Hey,
That
quick
voice is so
question.
funny, Siobhán.
Hey, okay, so big question. Do you remember before we got lost?
You got lost.
Well, yeah, but before that, I was like, wow, look at the moon. It's so big, so cool to see the full moon in the middle of the woods. And you were like, no shit, Max, it happens once a month.
Yeah, so,
Right, so, full moon.
yeah.
Wait, I have a question. Sorry.
Leprechauns.
Not
What
to interrupt
if-
this beautiful
Yeah.
depiction, but I have a question.
You're interrupting.
Okay,
I'm just saying,
How did he-
maybe there's a slight chance It's a werewolf.
How did Max get his clothes back?
He brought them back. Travis came into the jail with a thing a stack of clothes, and he said, "Oh, Max, would you like these back?"
Oh my god, I can't.
All right, we're back. Okay, Bryson's gone. Everything's fine.
What's so funny?
Everything's okay.
I said literally the exact same thing.
You sitting there with half your fucking arm gone,
You
dude.
got anything better? I mean, like zombies, aliens, time hopping Draculas.
Ooh, we should put that at the beginning of the trailer.
Hey!
What? Hey!
What?
No, that I'm doing justice at the beginning of the trailer where he's like, "What? Zombies, werewolves?" And then he's like looking in the bushes, and he's like, "Hey!" And then
That's what I do.
yeah, people in chat know what I'm talking about. Don't worry about it. Siobhán, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I actually totally missed what you were saying.
I didn't watch this trailer. I didn't want spoilers.
I think we should be calm because she's speaking to Ryan, and Ryan is a sensitive little baby.
A couple
I
streams ago,
I
you said
listened
he
to
was
you.
the alpha.
He is a alpha. An alpha.
I think there can only be one alpha, Justice. I think that's the whole idea.
We're not getting back into this.
No, they're both alphas. Ryan and Laura are
With a thing on the
alphas.
roof? Okay,
I
it
thought
would
the
really
concept
start to
didn't
explain a
exist.
lot of stuff.
Dylan,
I'm missing
And everyone
all
else-
that. Keep an open mind.
Apparently,
Like,
there is
your
no
ghost
such
stories.
thing
How's
as
that
an
different from your
alpha.
ghost stories?
those are just campfire stories. Like there has to be a rational explanation
There has
for
to be a
everything,
rational
for all of
explanation
this.
for everything, for all of this.
What is
I'm
your shit
covered
say?
in blood,
Coke
but there
damage?
has to be a rational
Talking
explanation.
so rational when you separated my hand from the rest of my body.
Exactly.
You told me to.
And if it's bite with which you're faced, cleave limb from torso with great haste.
Thank you. Thank you.
What?
Thank you,
You
Laura.
did the right thing.
See? She's got a whole poem about it.
Fucking love Dylan, dude.
Thanks, bro.
Look, she's getting up
There's
in
more
my
to all
face.
this
Look at
than you
this.
think.
Cheers. I love Jacob. Cheers. And I
Just let
love
me finish.
Ryan and Laura, and I
You
love
decide for
all
yourself
of
if
you.
you believe me or
You know
not,
who
I
I
don't
don't
care.
like?
But I think you
Who?
should hear all of it.
Silas the dog boy.
Damn, dude.
The next few
Ryan
weeks
listens to
were
the Alpha
long.
podcast that don't believe
The
women
cop kept us
experience
fed
gravity.
and let us
No!
take showers,
What?
Ryan.
Ryan is not
a
that.
lot.
No, he's not that
As
kind of
much as we
alpha.
could.
He's
I
just
would
an
love how to
alpha.
do a
He's
character
a-
impression of Andrew Tate.
Conspiracy theories.
He's a go-getter.
We talked about the cop.
Like Laura. That's why they like each other. It's in the script.
Thing in the basement. I think
They're
someone should
both-
read out this voiceover in an
Understand?
accent.
I wake up every day.
Okay.
I make coffee. I go in. I make my
And
thing.
nothing
I
was
could
making
lock on him if I really studied him.
All we knew is that
Yeah,
we needed
I
to
don't
get out.
think you should really study him. That would be bad.
For performative sake,
Right,
not
yeah, be
for
careful,
for
though.
his message.
Don't fly too
It's
close to
kinda
the
like-
sun.
Right,
Everyone take a
right,
sip.
Icarus.
Everyone take a sip. Justice, just so you're caught up, they've been in this jail for months now. They what else did we
Months?
just miss? Yeah, right?
I can't
3
take
months.
this anymore.
They've been in the jail for 3 months.
Yeah.
I think it's 3
No,
months.
I can't take being
Yeah,
in this
Why did they go to
anymore.
camp
camp.
so fucking early? 3 months
They
early?
only
That's
went.
way too
They only
fucking
went
early.
one.
Gotta do
No, they went
something. We've
one
gotta
night
get out of here.
early
We need a
before
fucking
camp
plan.
started,
2 months.
and then
2
they were in there
months.
until camp
Oh.
was finished.
2 months.
Oh,
Let
right.
me know if you have one.
2
That's
months.
really not very helpful, Max.
You are forgetting something.
You are forgetting something.
Just the
Drag.
itsy-bitsy tiny detail that I may or may
What's
not
in the
be a
wall? What's
fucking
that metal
werewolf,
thing on the
Laura.
wall?
The
So what?
cage?
What can we do, really?
So they,
No, there was like
they
a little
think-
said only
little
to stop
square
when
thing on the wall.
I turn into a nasty ass monster.
What were you
and
saying,
kill
Justice?
you and eat you. And
So
then I run
now
off
they
alone into
believe
the
that
sunset
Max
with
could be a
little bits of
werewolf?
you
Is that
stuck in
what's
my
happening?
teeth.
Okay, stop. Just one problem at a time.
Yes, Max
We
does
don't
at
even know if that's
least.
what's really going
And
on.
then-
And we
Oh,
all
I
just
guess-
Laura
I guess
doesn't
Laura does
completely.
too.
Okay.
But she
Would
hasn't
you-
seen-
that we only have 2 real options.
Would you want to?
We can
You
play
could
nice
gain
and
the
try to get
ability
this guy
to
on our
transform
side.
into
But so he'll let us go?
the
Or-
werewolf every time. Like you don't. It's
We try
not
to
just
catch
because
him
of the
off
moon.
guard
Except
and make
once
our
a
escape.
year. There's one night you never know when it is that you turn into a werewolf. Would you take the power?
What? No, I don't want to.
No.
I don't want to be a werewolf. What do you mean?
Yeah, why would I want
What if you
that?
could control it? That'd be so cool. If you're like, you were in control of when you were a werewolf. Like you could just turn yourself into a fucking like super powerful werewolf.
Yeah, but you're never in control as a werewolf because you're always just
no. But
like,
I'm saying
one
I'm putting
man
an
flesh.
exception.
Why do you want to be a werewolf? Like this isn't Skyrim.
Superpowers. I
Life,
don't know.
like-
I would just like jump around and stuff. I would
I
like
like
jump
my
on
life
buildings
the
and
way
stuff.
it is.
Yeah, you want the burden of being cursed with a perpetual violent urge just because you jump around a lot. You're crazy.
What? No, I just
Wait, hold up.
I do like
Hold up.
Spider-Man flying through the city, but like I'd fly through. I'd walk.
And you'd be a
run
danger
fast.
to your friends and family, Zach.
But I would be in
ugly.
control of my werewolf powers. Where we? How is this not getting across? I am in control of these powers.
What are you gonna do with
But
them?
that defeats the purpose of being a werewolf.
No, but I know that I can
Okay,
become a
so
fucking werewolf at any
let's
time.
say
I
we
feel like
get
my
on his good
confidence
side.
would be higher.
What then?
I would be
French
more.
and
I don't
mimosas
know.
every
I'd
Sunday
I'd be a
until
more
it's over.
well-rounded.
That has to do with your confidence.
I think that you
I
would
don't
be
know.
more confident. You would be more.
He doesn't have a good
I
side
would,
to
in the
get
back
on.
of my
We don't
mind,
even
if
talk
someone
to
was
us
giving me
half the
attitude,
time.
I'd be like, yeah, but you don't.
I don't know. I think we could crack him.
Damn. So if someone was giving you a
Or I
hard
think he's
time,
just
you would
biding
want
his
to
time
kill
until he
them.
can figure out a way to.
No,
get rid
I
of us.
wouldn't. I wouldn't
Permanently.
need to confront. I wouldn't ever feel like confrontational with anyone because I'd be like, dude, you have nothing on me. I'm a werewolf. Like, what are you gonna do to me? I'm a werewolf.
So
bro.
you're saying if someone was confrontational, you would have the threat of being able to murder them brutally?
No, there's no
And that would
threat.
be-
I just know that I'm.
You
like,
know, you can just murder them brutally, like as is. You
Yeah,
don't
you
have
can-
to be a werewolf.
No,
to
but
do
there's no
that.
murder aspect here. Why is stop attaching? I don't want this aspect.
Don't you
attached
all?
to this.
I know,
There's
but
no
understand what
murder
you're saying.
aspect.
I understand what
Under
you're
the
saying.
same-
It's like to
No.
know in your back pocket that you have something that like
No,
gives you
because-
superiority over these people.
Yeah, but you
Well,
already do. You already do. You can murder anyone you want at any time. Like it's under the same paradigm.
Wait, where are you getting this murder thing? I'm like,
Wouldn't that
okay,
give you the
objectively,
confidence
if-
over
if-
other people that you could
if
kill them at
I
any
need to-
time?
if I need
Humans
to-
kill
I-
other humans all the time. Just
what
murder
are the
them.
What are the superpowers of like strength?
Okay,
Imagine
Zach,
you're doing something
I
around the
think-
house and you need to get rid of some concrete. You've been doing housework and there's extra concrete. Werewolf mode.
You're right.
You pick up the concrete.
Zach,
You're
I
more
think-
efficient. You
Zach,
get it done
If I can,
quickly.
if I
What's he
can
gonna
just
do to
speak
us
for a
that's any
second,
worse if we get
I
caught,
believe
right?
that you're missing
Let's just
the underlying
not get
metaphor
caught. Deal.
Yeah.
that werewolfism or lycanthropy
Okay.
represents, which
Here's how it's
is
gonna go down.
the
Next time he
internal,
opens your cell to take you to get washed up,
the
you
curse
jump
of an
him.
internal hyper-masculine
down and-
But I'm
violence.
breaking the
Take the
mold.
keys from
that
his
I'm
belt,
breaking the mold.
drag
It's
him into your cell,
2020.
lock
It's
him in
time
there,
for a new
unlock
kind of
my cell,
werewolf.
No,
and
you
then
have
we'll
to.
I
just
think
steal
it's
his
like
car and just
I
drive
think
right
it's
the
like
fuck out
the
of
dark.
Dodge.
Go ahead.
Right. Okay.
Sorry, go
That's
ahead.
not
No,
really
Zach
the plan,
is saying
though.
that his
You know,
werewolf
that's just kind of
would be
saying let's escape,
yassified,
but with a whole
like-
lot more
It's just
work.
not
you would
possible.
have.
Escaped.
Darkness
I was-
cannot exist
We're
without the
I've
I've
light.
been like,
If you're a
I'm not
werewolf,
standing
you're gonna
for
be.
this thing with the moon anymore. I'm taking a stand. I'm integrating into society, and I'm not ashamed of my powers.
Question.
Yeah, I'm a little
Question for
hairy,
you, Zach.
but also I can lift a lot and I can run really fast. And my teeth are
What gives
awesome.
you the right? What gives you the right to think that you could be a werewolf and pick and choose when you could use your powers and being in control? Like it's a blessing
Just
and
like
a
a
curse.
man.
This is my
Just like a man.
Exactly.
Just like a man.
Exactly. He's saying I can lean into my toxic masculinity, but I can control it.
Ow! Ow! Careful. Really?
Damn it.
Just like a man,
You're
always
trapped
in the
by
pursuit of
PTX
power. Always in the pursuit of power.
All right.
Just to wield it over others, just like a man. Can you add that to the notes app apology list, please?
Yes,
Apologize.
that's right.
Genius.
Who do I have to apologize to for this?
Everybody.
Me.
Why?
Shower.
To the werewolf community?
No, to
To
the
the world.
civilian
You're
community.
thinking you deserve a special form of werewolfism.
Take your
Yeah,
fucking
but
clothes off. Fuck off. Get back.
Max, what's going on?
Take your fucking clothes off!
All right, speedrun. Let's get in here. Speedrun the game.
Hold on.
Gaming. We're
Wait,
gaming.
this is so crazy because this is the same scene that like started a porno that I watched 2 days ago. He-
Down, run out, and down.
He also tased the guy
down.
and said, "Get your fucking clothes off." So weird.
Oh god.
Did they go into
You're
sex or
into
is
some
there
weird
more?
shit,
Be a vet,
Justice.
right?
I think maybe if you're like spouting
pretend.
toxic
And then
shit
he
to
drops it
Zach,
in the
maybe
cell
you're
and the guy's
projecting a
like,
little
I
bit.
did it, I
believe it
swear! And then they're
until you
taking
see
they
it
take
for
him to like
yourself.
this chair and they strap him in and
Justice,
And then they start having sex.
Justice, the chat wants the link.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'll drop the link. I'll drop the link.
No,
I'll drop the link.
No kink shaming in
No
the
kink-
chat.
yeah,
no
no
kink
kink-
shaming
no
in the
kink-
chat. Thank you.
I'll
The
drop the
reason-
link. I'll drop the link after me and Zach shoot it.
Wrapping things up here.
Yeah, now we're talking,
Hell
baby.
yeah.
And that just
Hell
got clipped.
yeah.
That just got clipped and
Down
redistributed
to 20. Over.
over the whole internet. Now you're gonna have to. Oh.
Yeah, baby. Clip
This is
that
rum.
shit. I'm,
Well,
I'm proud of that
Woo!
clip.
I'll tell you.
Is that really
It's
rum?
not going to be pretty. But don't worry. I'll be back at dawn.
Here's my protein powder.
You're really gonna leave me here?
You'll be fine. Just don't get
Bulking
too
it up.
close.
Justice, are you even watching the game right now, or are you just watching porn?
Listen, I've just had porn pulled
Actively
up
while
on
we
the
watch?
side. Yeah. I just like to watch
Look,
porn
I'm
casually.
sure that there is a pornographic version of this scene somewhere on Reddit, and if you really want to watch that version,
Don't even
do it.
suggest.
Okay.
I feel like most of these scenes could like have a pornographic spin to them.
Oh my god, yeah.
Okay, wait. This is.
I feel like you're
I
a
feel like
pervert.
This is. We're not allowed to actually talk about this. I feel like this might be. Is this TOS?
Okay, let's set the mood. Let's be compassionate and change our tune.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
We have minors here. This channel is marked for adult audiences, is it not?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, what are you doing in here? Shouldn't you be at school right now, huh?
I don't know.
Go to
What are
school.
what are you doing on lines?
Open up
What do you
your
need? What can I do to
textbooks
help?
and read about math.
Age 33.
I'm
2 plus 7
Big ass pipe, so I'm not.
It's
exactly
18.
Just stay back, okay? You should.
I didn't go to school. I'm sorry.
There's not a lot I can
And
do
that's
about
why
that.
you should.
And that's why
everyone
you
watch the scene. This is
should.
important scene. Important scene. Here we go.
I can't fucking hear it. So
Someone wrote, Zach, it's 4 a.m. for me, bro.
Okay, everyone's got to watch this. Max is gonna do some cool shit
Max?
with his sausage fingers.
Tell me what's going on.
what's going on?
Oh, this scene kind of disturbs me, to be perfectly frank. The transformation, something about transformation genuinely.
Fucking spoilers out.
Sorry.
What's happening?
He has to shit really bad.
I ate some bad fish.
See,
What
that's
the-
happens. That's what happens when you get bad pokey.
What the? Oh my god! What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my god, Laura! Yo! That was so much faster than I thought it was gonna be. Fuck! Get the fuck out of there, girl! What are you doing?
Oh, it was a spoiler, huh? I'm sorry, guys.
He just ripped her fucking eye out of her head.
That's very. I really like that. That response, Siobhán.
Losing your eye.
Just the fuck for me is like, yeah, absolutely. You're just like, what do you say? You're just like, fuck.
Totally, I know. When I read that, I was like, that's exactly what somebody would say.
No, she's looking.
I can't even
badass,
imagine.
though.
Isn't that music?
So much for
Yeah, it's great music.
Someone said R.I.P. depth perception. So I actually have a question about this.
Okay, do you want to pause?
Because
Okay, let's
oh,
pause.
should we pause?
Let's pause. Let's look around.
Well, just
I'm
quick
gonna
question
start
about eyes.
pausing a little more so we can have the conversations. But
Question.
yes.
Question about eyes. Just like if there's any eye experts in the chat, please feel free to speak up.
Me.
So I thought that like when you lose vision in one of your eyes, it affects your ability, like your depth perception. I've always
Correct.
thought
It does.
It does.
But then
It's true.
someone the other day told me that at any given moment we're only looking out of one of our eyes.
No.
That's not true.
Incorrect.
We're never looking out of both of our eyes. at the
That's
same time.
incorrect.
Just wrong.
Only if you have a binocular dysfunction. There's a name for that.
Very,
And
very
it means
wrong.
your brain and your eyes aren't working properly together.
Like when you close one eye, if you look at something and then you close one eye and then you put it over the other eye, that thing will shift. And they were
Yeah.
telling me that that's proof that you're only looking out of one eye, which is
Was this
why
person 10 years old? Because it's not true.
they were 10 years older than me.
Yeah, it's just not true. No, it's not true.
Yeah,
like,
this is very incorrect.
Your brain is
what I
very
said.
good at making a summary of the parallax between your eyes, and in.
Can I nerd out here?
Yeah, please. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I actually have a condition called binocular dysfunction, which means that I'm only using one of my eyes.
Were you born with binoculars
some of the time.
fused to your face?
Yes. I can see through so many windows. And that means that your brain is only receiving an image from one eye and it's blocking the image from the other. Even though both eyes are working, your brain's just not receiving it. So yeah. So that's not true.
For you, what I said is the case. What I said, that's happens for you, but it's a dysfunction.
But you know what the funny part is that so you can do exercises to retrain your brain to see both images. But one of the exercises that I have involves wearing an eye patch, which is pretty
crazy. Very cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
So do you have issues with depth perception?
No, because it's only
I have an issue with depth perception. I can never tell when it's coming.
I asked Siobhán a question actually.
Classic Zach mansplaining.
I actually asked a question of Siobhán, and she's the one on the screen right now. And so Siobhán, one more time. Do you have issues with depth perception?
No, because my brain is good most of the time. It's just if I'm looking at stuff up close, my eyes don't converge properly, and then it gets confused with what's coming from one of my eyes. So most of the time it's fine. It's just close stuff.
Sometimes I have problems with phone reception.
Thanks.
Nice.
What?
Okay.
Can we the ability to mute Zach from your end, Miles?
I have. Let me just. Well, I can also just.
I'll stop doing puns. I'm sorry.
I can just get rid of him visually too.
I'll stop doing puns. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I do have the power, Zach. So just
no.
Just so you know. Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
All
Good.
right. Well,
No,
we're good.
Stop.
Are you gonna behave?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have to get a spray bottle?
No.
Yes. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So thank you, Siobhán, for sharing very interesting scientific facts. I appreciate that very much.
Siobhán, I didn't know that.
I do love that we have.
What do you mean? What do I have to apologize for? Why am I getting voted? What do I have to apologize for now?
You have to apologize for making fun of Siobhán's very serious disorder.
And for speaking over Siobhán as well and manspreading.
Siobhán, I'm sorry. Spreading?
You were manspreading all over the chat. Your legs were wide open.
Oh my gosh.
Fine.
You know, while we're on scientific facts, that a lot of our spatial awareness comes from our hearing. And the way that works is because our brain is very good at understanding the difference in timing between when a sound hits each of our two ears. And
oh my god, this is so boring, Miles. Can we please just play the game?
Your nipples are used to sense vibrations, really minuscule.
Zach, shut the fuck up! Oh my god, can we please continue the game, please?
I'm just gonna keep playing the game, and we're gonna just do this real quick. I'm just gonna do this.
Let's see what that bastard cop's hiding.
No, don't you dare! Oh, okay, great.
Oh my god.
I thought he was gonna take me out, but no.
Oh, what just happened?
What the fuck?
Himself out in the process.
This is so much better like this. This is so much better, Justice.
Miles took himself out.
Miles, come on. I'm sorry. We miss you. Come back.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I'm back.
Okay, great.
All right, cool.
I'll take you down with me. When you get rid of me, I'll take you down with me.
We're back to normal now, right? This is everything is how we... Oh, no. Okay. Okay, fine. All right, Zach, you're back.
Zach, I have a question for you, Zach.
What?
How many followers have you lost since we started streaming this game?
Wow. Shout out,
shout out
to Zach's fledgling Twitch channel. He's doing a great job. He's learning how to do it.
Oh, yes, thank you.
And Siobhán, let's get a shout out to both their channels if you do want to follow.
Yeah, what's yours? Plug yours, Siobhán, and then I'll plug mine.
Get plugged.
I can't remember what the name is. I think it's official Siobhán Williams. Siobhán Williams official. Shit.
It's
And then-
officially Siobhán.
Mine
Oh,
is
yeah.
Kismaticus.
I can't believe that I just said get plugged and nobody called me out on it. I'm going to.
Oh, I missed it.
I'm going to read.
They call you out on it.
most
What does that mean?
recent Tarot. What's the most?
The
recent?
Chariot.
Is it
The
Chariot?
Chariot was the most.
Oh,
recent,
it's
yeah.
at Siobhán Williams. My Twitch is just
The chariot on top.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Can I say, I love that Laura was like, I know my eye just got gouged out of my head, but I'm still gonna do this high pony above the gauze just so like I can like look kind of good.
Hell yeah.
Like I
Oh
know
my
that I'm
God.
missing like a organ, but like I still want to look good while I walk around this fucking dungeon. And I love that about her character. I really
That's
love
so
that
funny.
for her.
Okay. So
You know what's really funny?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna
Sorry.
read the card, but you can do your
Go for
story
it.
first. No. I'm not gonna talk over you. I've learned.
Okay.
the hard
Okay. Really quick. So I was doing an interview with Dread Central, and they were asking me. She was like, "Do you think your hat is just so funny? Like when I saw it, I just giggled, and I was just like,
What's funny about it?
what's funny about my hat?" She was like, the ponytail in the hat, and I was just like, "That's how I wear my ponytail in a hat." Yeah, I don't know. And then I guess it's like a
What?
ponytail. I guess it's like a ponytail hat. Like there's a little hole for the ponytail above the like hat hole. And I didn't realize that, and I actually
What?
still
Wait,
haven't even
what?
looked to check. But
There's
I
a
think
hole.
that's
It's
what she
not-
meant.
I thought it was just coming out of the thing like that's
It
in the
comes
front of
out
yours
the-
right now.
The thing that yeah.
oh, is it?
It should be. If
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah,
ponytail
okay.
hole above the hat
Is it like a glow
hole
for your hair to come out of? Oh, so I probably
Yeah.
shouldn't say GH, huh?
No, that's
So
okay,
I don't
Zach.
know.
You don't
Okay.
have to. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm gonna apologize. I'm gonna apologize to Zach for bullying Zach. I'm sorry, Zach.
Why
What
you?
happened?
What did you bully for me there?
Well, no, just because now you're censoring yourself from saying glory hole, and I feel bad that.
Oh, I
you
just
felt
didn't
like
want
you
to. If
weren't-
there's minors here, I don't want to expose.
There shouldn't be
expose-
minors. If there's
Okay,
minors
no.
here, it's not.
Expose them.
It's not our fault. They're not supposed to be here. Okay, the chariot.
Yeah, get the fuck out
The
of here.
chariot. This is ASMR at chariot time. I'm gonna do the chariot.
Go
So,
ahead.
chariot.
Go ahead, Miles. Go ahead, Miles.
The chariot. At the reins of a chariot, we would all feel safer. Taking control, relying on determination to make our choices. Valiant, but in some cases, foolish. Many seek refuge in chariots, but perhaps in some cases, they're not as safe as we think they are.
Wow.
Thank you, everybody.
Beautiful.
You have a very nice. Whatever this is called, the
Beautiful.
You have a very nice one when it gets
Vocal
to that.
fry.
The vocal
Vocal,
fry.
yeah, your vocal fry. Yes, your vocal fry is very nice.
Thank you very much.
Like the grudge.
Siobhán, that sounded like the grudge. Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not as pleasant.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what this card means.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay, never mind.
No, I thought you were doing the okay. Let's play the game again. No, tell me what the card means, please. Thank you.
The card is related to cancer. For all of my cancers out there, this is your card, baby. And the chariot is just about pushing forward, pushing through, about determination. It's about the balance of the dark and the light. A lot of these cards are about balance. As you can see, the prince has both a black wolf and a white wolf. In the original tarot illustration, it is a black horse and a white horse. And it just represents, the unifying of two sides in order to push through and move forward.
Wow. So, but
And sometimes the chariot is called the prince.
I just love Zach in the background, like, oh.
Mr. Evan Evagora's texting me right now. He's watching the stream.
Oh, that's lovely to hear.
Hi, Evan.
He said, "What is?" He asked what my background is. It's a meme. He said, "Hey, people, there's not a way we could get him in. That would be a lot of effort, huh?
It's, there's a way to get him in. It's
Nope.
Okay. It's just, it'll just make me fuck up technical
He says,
difficulties
"Love y'all."
again. It's
He says, "I just woke up."
Okay, maybe he's a little
I don't
too sleepy
wanna.
anyway. Okay. Yeah.
We have an hour left, so let's go.
Okay, we have an hour left.
I'm gonna watch.
2 hours? Or Justice, are you
Wait.
cutting us short? You sick of this shit?
We got time. Unless you want to
Wait, how long are we going to?
We
Don't
said
we normally
4
go from
hours.
1 to 4?
4.
We go from 1 to
But
4.
we
don't
started
we?
at
So we were
at
going-
noon for you.
We started at 12.
It was an earlier
I
one.
know. So wouldn't that be 12
so we
to
could,
3?
Yeah, we could do 12 to 3 if you want. It's
No.
I know you guys want to.
We can do whatever. Let's get the game going now. How is your download going though, Justice?
Let me look.
I thought it was still 4.
Evan, I love you. We all love you and miss you.
I have 43 minutes left.
I'm gonna need to rest soon.
So you could do the last hour if we make it through. If we keep it rocking, but that's up to you.
I haven't had a lot of QTEs as of. Also, we've just been fucking talking though.
Yeah, we've been talking the whole time.
Oh, yeah, we have been talking.
I mean, is the chat really here to watch like us silently play the Quarry? I mean, can't they do that
No,
anymore?
you're right.
Aren't they
It's a
here
good
to
point.
We're back
watch
to
us?
ads now, of course.
All right.
Ads?
Ads are up.
No, that's fine.
Yep.
We're gonna just keep pushing. We're gonna do the stuff that everybody's seen. We're just gonna find the syringe. Spoilers.
God, it's an ad for McDonald's. It wants me to make McDonald's.
Siobhán, you're not subscribed? You're not subscribed to my channel?
I'm not even logged in right now for some reason.
Just teasing.
What did I spoil? I wasn't even
I
talking.
spoiled. It's just that it's your fault if a spoiler happens.
I know. I think that's
Siobhán,
so
what
funny.
do I need to find here? I need to find. Can chat or so y'all?
Such bullshit. Shut up.
So y'all have the
Zach,
the
those are the
controllers.
rules.
You can point at stuff, right? So you can
Them
point.
the
Okay.
rules.
Them
I
rules.
know I gotta go in into one of these lockers, right?
Justice, are you okay to go to 4, or do you have to go?
I don't have anything to go
Man,
to do, but
Jimmy's
like,
been going
like
through
to
some rough
leave.
times.
I just would like to leave, but not because I'm not having fun, just because I feel like there's other stuff I should be doing,
Fair.
It's just
like
Sunday.
cleaning up my house. We'll see. I might push it a little bit. We'll see.
It's up to you, man.
It's always
whatever is
4
easy
hours
for
is
you.
a
We can always hop
healthy-
on and do this later.
3 hours is healthy. 4 hours is a little extra, but yeah, that's totally fine. We'll see how we're feeling in a little bit. All right, so we see
Why
full moon,
can't? Is
birthday
Laura's
boy,
agility just terrible? Why can't she hop those lockers and see what's
birthday
back in there?
beers.
July 7th. I need to lie down.
I know. Why can't any of our characters jump? I mean, I guess in real life, how often do we jump?
I mean, I cannot jump.
Or like just walk
In
over
real life?
something
IRL,
carefully.
I have like a 1-inch vertical.
That's
Got
not
it.
very good.
It's not. I was not a. I mean, when I was just
Elite
tall,
of
I have a
taller-
9-inch vertical, if you know what I mean.
Hell
Heyo!
when I was when I played basketball as a kid, I would
You have a
only do
22
well
inch
by
vertical?
being taller than people. There's the only advantage.
Mama's boy.
Mama's boy.
Isn't that like what all basketball is, though? Isn't it?
No,
just,
but
Pretty
then
much.
some people can jump as well.
He was born in.
So I did
But
well
they're
against.
tall and can jump.
I did well against the people that I went to high school with. All these white kids who were shorter than me. I did great. I was a great power forward, but I don't think I'm a great.
You're like a young Timmy Duncan.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm sure Tim Duncan can jump higher than I can. Let's wait.
Oh,
so what
yeah.
else do I
Not
need to find in
anymore.
here? What happened to him?
Is Tim Duncan
Is he okay?
the son of Tim Horton and Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes, that is absolutely true.
Yes!
And
Join the dark side, Justice! I love it!
okay, we're gonna have to turn down
Let's
Zach's
go.
microphone a little bit.
Sorry, that was really loud.
We're gonna have to. All right, did I
R.I.P.
miss something?
y'all's
Did I
ears.
miss something?
Yeah, I don't. In this room?
In the other room, or isn't there like a computer? It's not in this room.
Did you go in all the rooms? I think
did.
you have to go in 3 different rooms. You might have missed one. Did you go to the end of the hall?
Yeah, I thought I did.
Don't forget the notice on the printer door.
Okay, I'm looking at this.
Did you get the notice on the printer by the door?
I'm hoping I did. I'm gonna find another one. All right. Let's see. That's not. We already looked at that. There's no printer in here. This is not.
Those boxes. Maybe there's something in the box.
Which box?
Maybe they have like old, like 2012 IMAX.
No. There
just
would be
like sell for parts.
There would be a little blinking light, and it would tell me exactly what to do.
Yeah, but Johnny, no penis don't play by no rules. No penis, no rules.
Hey.
All right, Zach.
This looks right.
Zach, I will give you no penis, no rules.
That's the creed I live by.
Please tell me that's an original quote of yours, Zach.
No, you gotta go into the locker. Go into those lockers, yeah.
I got the syringe.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
Then I think you're all right.
Siobhán is trying to help me.
That's the most important thing.
Help me stay on top of this. Thank you, Siobhán. What the
You're
fuck?
welcome.
Where was the computer? I didn't see a computer.
I've exhausted this.
Oh, you want my driver's license, officer?
I can't tell if
Sorry,
it's.
I can't do that for you.
If it's Laura
no
or
penis,
Siobhán.
no rules.
I can't tell if it's Laura or Siobhán saying, "I'm exhausted. I gotta go to
Sir,
sleep."
step out of the vehicle.
I'm exhausted.
I gotta
step out of the vehicle, sir.
It's such a sneaky little
sorry,
trick
I
that they keep
can't.
making you want to think that you're supposed to go back to your cell and
the
go to
officer's,
sleep.
the officer's like, damn it, he's right.
It's downstairs. apparently.
It's downstairs.
Section.
Someone said that. Yeah.
It's downstairs.
Yeah. I've exhausted myself and this.
I'm so
We
sick
just
of these
had
boys.
2 separate conversations.
Yeah.
We did. We managed
That
to keep
was-
them separate.
That was probably so fucking hard to decipher for the audience. There was so many conversations going on in the last 2 minutes.
Sorry, guys.
That's my laugh.
Oh my god, that's good.
Is it in here?
I did it the first time.
It's not in here.
In the bathroom. No, go up the stairs, I think. Or
What? I
like,
thought it was
did you go up the
downstairs.
stairs?
What?
No. There's like 3 stairs. There's like 3 stairs. There's a few
What?
doors. Yeah, like go. No, not there. Turn around.
This one?
Go to your left.
Oh god.
No, go to your left.
Oh god. Locked.
Figures?
Left.
I guess I
Turn
can
around.
I can't control
To
it
your
right now. I
left.
have to wait for you to stop.
Yeah, go. Okay, let me show you. Let me show
Go
you.
back to my
Okay,
cell
wait.
and wait, I guess.
Shut up, Laura. Just let us walk. Okay, go. Not there.
This
Yeah,
way.
go that way.
Okay.
Shining, shimmering.
This
Yeah,
way.
there's stairs. No, wait. Go back. Yes, keep going straight and then look to your right.
Oh, these.
Wait.
Oh.
No stairs.
Oh.
Got it.
Oh. I get it now.
There you go. You should be able to go on it. Yeah. Oh, you're in. Okay. It's so dark on my TV right now. I can barely see
Take a
the
sip, girl. Everyone take a sip.
Almost out of
Another sip, girl. Oh my god, who is that?
Hello?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, the ball. We have a sale at JCPenney. Jeans 50% off. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Laura freaks out. Stop calling me!
Stop calling.
7 days. Not so much a hint as a slap in the face.
Credit card bill is overdue.
Hint, my birthday. Did we see it at some point?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, when you were
You guys-
having your own private little conversation.
You guys want to hear a funny story that's completely irrelevant to everything?
Yes.
Yes.
Why'd you pause?
Because we want to hear your story.
Laura's looking at you.
Wait, someone in the chat said Laura's password is "I'm not gay, mom."
Wait, what?
Someone in the
His
chat said his password is "I'm not gay, mom."
I'm trying to make Laura roll her eyes at you.
It's just a face, Mom. God.
I'm not gay, mom.
I don't care if you read an article that eye patches mean you're gay. I'm not. It's just a
No, it's not.
Okay, we're
It's
moving on.
not.
Just his
Moving on.
password.
Moving on.
Anyways,
Wait, it's
tell us your
not
story,
her
Justice.
All right.
It's not her password. It's his password.
Yeah.
Okay, my story is I don't really smoke weed anymore. But when I used to, I took it. The last time I ever did, really, I took an edible.
Well, that's not smoking.
I took it. Right, true. It's not smoking. I took an
And
edible
Scoob.
with my friend. The edible was this big. It was a gummy. It was this big. The package said, "Take 1/4 of this gummy." So me and my friend we both split 1/4, meaning both of us had 1/8 of the gummy. Okay. So we go see a movie, Thor Ragnarok, and the trailers start and the edible kicks in, and it's good, and it's cool, and it's not too bad. And then as the trailers are going, the edible gets really fucking rough, like so scary. And there's like these horror movie trailers, and like I just feel like all the conflict that is happening on screen is like happening in real life, and because of me, like I'm
it's your
responsible
fault.
for all the conflict in the world. Yeah. And I'm like having a panic attack, and I lean over to my friend, I say, and the movie starts, whatever, and everything that's happening, it's just so overwhelming, overstimulating. And I turn to my friend, I say, "Hey man, let's go." And he's like, "What?" No. And I'm like, "Okay." And then I'm like, "Dude, we have to go. I think I have Parkinson's." And what the fuck? I thought that like I gave myself Parkinson's by because I kept shaking. Because I kept
Oh
shaking.
my God.
Are you sure it wasn't? Are you sure it wasn't like the 4D theater that shakes your seat?
No, it was
because I went
for some reason.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Tell me.
For some reason, when I would get high, I would shake. I don't know why. My whole body would just start shaking. I don't know why. So I was like, oh, I definitely have Parkinson's. This was like the final thing. Like it's all been leading up to this. This was it. And everybody who like would leave the theater to go to the bathroom or whatever, I'd be like, they're gonna get the cops. They're gonna come and arrest me because I have Parkinson's.
For developing Parkinson's disease.
Because I'm shaking too much in the theater.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Imagine
so the movie's
police arresting a man for that. That'd be terrible.
The movie's going, and I'm like, I really gotta go. I said, man, we gotta go. And he's like, okay, fine, whatever. This is so annoying, but okay. And we're in the middle of the row, and it was when Thor Ragnarok just came out, so the theater is packed. So we have to like go like squeeze past people, and I'm tripping over everyone because I don't know how to walk anymore. Because I'm like, how do you walk? And we get out of the theater. Well, yeah, basically we get out of the theater, and you know how sometimes when a movie comes out, over the cinema doors, it'll say the title of the movie. Right. But sometimes when the title is too long, it'll cut off. So it'll just say like the first two words or the first word of what the movie is called, right? So Justice League had just came out, and it was playing in multiple theaters.
Justice
League.
So
it literally, I walked out of the theater, and all of the cinema doors said Justice. And I said, why does this say my name? And we call a lift, and we get in the lift, and I called it, but for some reason I saw my name on her phone, on the Lyft driver's phone. I was like, my name is all over. Everyone knows my name, and everyone's coming to get me. We get back to my friend's house. I'm like, dude, I have to go to bed. I'm going to bed. Like, I go to sleep in his bedroom, and he's like, it's
Wait, have you not heard this new Victoria Justice song?
Dude, basically, I was waiting for like one more incident of that. I went to bed at like 7 p.m. I thought, honestly, that's the end of the story. But I will say though that like I thought we got through like half of the movie, and I went back to go see it later. We got through 2 minutes of the movie before I had to leave because I was shaking so bad.
And then you saw your name everywhere.
And that was the last time
seeing your name everywhere is my favorite part of the. My favorite part of
the reason why I brought this up was because
walking out the theater and seeing all.
Can you imagine how it would feel, Justice, if I ate too much of an edible and I drove around the highway? If I was on the highway and I had too
miles, miles and miles and miles.
Fuck. Oh God.
Siobhán's the only one who's safe to get high. Because Siobhan's
yeah,
never gonna see her name on like stuff.
They're not putting on a lot of signs. Yeah.
Oh my god! Except I wouldn't even need to, because that experience that you had pretty much sums up like every time I touch that stuff. It's like not good.
It's bad.
It's
I always get
everything in
I'm not a
moderation,
fan.
kids.
I get cold. You say you shake. When I smoked, I get cold.
That's why I shake. I get cold and then I start shaking for some reason.
This is
You can
not-
like feel everything that's happening in your body at once. For me, I feel like shaking, but on the inside, I can like feel my heart and like it's so.
Your organs.
They made this stuff. They made this stuff too strong. They made it too. They did too
Good
good.
thing we didn't get a weed sponsor for this.
Yeah,
we
no.
should've gotten
Hey,
a
I
weed
have. There's a company that makes them that are sold in the places in LA that are like really low dose, and it's
Lol.
very, very, very like meticulously dosed out, and it's like very, very, very low doses. These little mints, and that's what I don't smoke anymore because smoking it makes me feel crazy. But those are I found that's like the only way to do it that doesn't make you feel nuts these days. When I was younger, it was so much weaker. It was a different story. Now it's like a drug. It's crazy.
Shrooms are getting
really
pretty normalized too.
Yeah, you can buy mushrooms at McDonald's now. Shout out McDonald's.
What?
Thank you, McDonald's.
Thank you, McDonald's.
You
yeah.
kidding?
Hey,
No,
shall
you
we
can-
keep playing?
Let's keep playing. Yeah, let's keep playing.
Thank you, Siobhán, for ending this back and forth that was going absolutely nowhere.
Hey, bad path.
Let's.
Justice.
I just wanted to tell my story about Parkinson's in my name.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry to the
Crazy porn on the computer.
She's
just watching.
Sure.
Like,
So, what happened?
She's like, what is this?
it's the video you've been talking about, that porno.
Can I tell you guys the least American thing about me?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I have no idea how football works.
I'm jealous.
Wow.
Like I don't
football,
understand
like soccer,
any of
or
the
football
rules.
like American football.
American football. No clue
I don't know
how
either.
it's played.
I
You
literally
don't?
don't.
Nice.
But I don't
Yeah, it's
know
not
most
my thing.
sports.
Fair enough.
So
Hockey's great.
I love hockey.
I
Shout
just
out hockey.
recently learned like some of the rules to
Whoa!
basketball.
What the fuck was
Just-
Oh
that?
wow!
That was scary.
So many people are saying they don't understand football either. That's oh my god! Solidarity for not being into American
I
football.
totally
American
fucking
football
know
is really only in America. It's not like, I mean, even baseball is an American pastime, but that has
Yeah, but people know
international-
about it in like England and
people-
stuff. People actually like follow it. It's pretty interesting.
People in England
like
follow
some
American
people.
football.
You go to there are those
Maybe
games
some.
and people just wear like like any football jersey. I've seen it.
Well, I saw it. So it's very specific, but I recently saw this video. I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but it was like these people going
Did I
around
do
in
everything?
England asking.
We gotta get back in the game. I'm sorry. No more.
Yeah.
Did I do everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, basically, he showed pictures of football
Can we
players.
take a bathroom break? I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, let's go to the bathroom. I cannot believe that I'm the one trying to get
Let's
this back
go
on the
take an edible
rails,
and watch
but-
some porn.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna put this in here. We're gonna hide this little syringe, and then we're gonna take a bathroom break. And then we're gonna get back and we're gonna be very professional. And we're gonna just absolutely play the game. It's gonna be great.
Can we put some ads on while we do that?
Yeah, let's put some ads on. It's gonna be great.
Nice.
All right,
Baby,
gonna go to sleep. Okay,
make
cool.
some money
By the
from
way.
Daddy Bezos.
All right, Daddy Bezos, enjoy this. Everyone have a nice piss and have a great time pissing. We did about 2 minutes of the gameplay, and it's time to move on. See you all very soon. Ciao for now. And welcome back, everybody. We're here. We're still here. We didn't go anywhere. I know that you're sick of us, but we got a little bit more to do here. And first thing we're gonna do is say thank you. Holy shit to Carlini. Is it Carlini?
Holy shit!
Or is it Carlini?
I think it's Carlene.
It's just Carlene? Well, there's a bunch of
Oh,
E's.
Carlene. Yeah.
There's a bunch of E's, so I wasn't sure if it
Oh,
was
is there?
Carlene or Carlini. But many gift subs from Carlini, and thank you so much for that. That's really overwhelming support. Very,
Hey
very
Miles,
fantastic.
I have a question.
What's up?
What are gifts?
What are what?
What are gift subs?
So interesting, yeah. So a subscription to the channel means that you can have ad-free viewing. It means that you get access to very special emotes that I have, and you'll have access to a special part of the Discord where you'll get codes to play Fall Guys first when we play Fall Guys, etc., and other little bonus perks. And a gift sub is when someone contributes. You can either contribute to a specific person, or you can say, I'm going to buy 5 gift subs, and it'll give 5 subscriptions to 5 people who are following, who are not paying for it themselves. So you can gift a subscription to support the channel and give it to someone else who's watching. So when
Darlene bought 100, I can't speak. 125 subscriptions for other people.
Yes, and that is very cool.
Wow, that's so nice.
That's
also,
very cool.
Baller. Carly,
it's very cool. And also Benefic, thank you for the 10 gift subs. Thank you so much. You see, everyone is feeling very generous today. Really appreciate that. Cherry
how
Bomb,
long is a subscription? Like how long?
If you want
it's
to
a
gush
month,
over, you just
but then you
subscribe,
can it's a month, but then you can continue the sub yourself if you want. But it's for a month.
125 people can now subscribe because of Carly
for the month. Yes, exactly. And then
Maybe I should be
Hayden Ever, Crackalack and Crabs, Manic of Noise, Ziggy Harp, Brandon Schaefer, Sawstick, Cat Queen, Char, Moose's Clues, nice, good name. Gracie Margarita, It's Demita. I think I'm all caught up there. Yeah, thank you everybody for this support. Really appreciate supporting the channel, and stick around. We have a great programming for you here. In fact, you might see us play games again in the future, even when it's not the Quarry. Me and Zach played Overwatch the other day.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Overwatch, Justice?
No, what's that?
It's a game. It's an online squad game. It's like a shooter, but it's cartoon. It's like Blizzard.
No.
It's good. It's like World of
I don't
Warcraft.
like first-person shooters.
Okay, then you won't like the game. I don't either, but I like Overwatch. But that's because I'm healing. I like to heal.
It's not just first-person shooters.
Anyway, we are not promoting that game today. We are
No.
actually
Speaking of
gaming. We're actually
speaking
gaming.
of video. Speaking of other games,
yes,
the Quarry won Game of the Year at the Industry Gaming Awards last week. And
Hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah. I know. And the Game Award nominations come out tomorrow, so let's hope that the Quarry gets nominated for a couple things.
Hell yeah. Wait, what comes out tomorrow?
For us.
They're called the Game Awards. They're like an awards at the Microsoft Theater in LA.
Nice. When do we get our BAFTAs?
God, I hope one of us gets nominated. I hope someone from from our game gets nominated.
I hope the game
I
gets...
hope somebody.
Tyler, we're gonna play Overwatch with mods for sure. I love it. Yeah.
Did you cut out? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I missed that.
His mic
Did
came
your
out.
mic die? Uh-oh.
His mic
Mike's
came
having a
out.
technical difficulty. Where's your cable, Miles?
Your
I
mic
must
came
tell them
off.
Mike.
Your
The
mic.
Your mic.
Your mic popped off, homie.
And if we do get nominated for a Game Award, I'm pretty sure that the audience or like general people get to vote for the winner. So if we do get nominated, make sure you go vote for the Quarry.
Yes, please. Can we go? I want to go. I'm here in LA.
You get nominated.
Yeah, but even what if our game's
Oh yeah,
nominated?
actually, you know what? You can buy tickets. I saw that you can buy tickets.
Yeah, that's fun.
Miles
Award ceremonies can be a bit boring. I got nominated for a daytime Emmy, and it was like it's like 3 hours, and I found out I lost the second award, so it was just me sitting there for 2.5 hours being like.
They tell you ahead of time.
No. They started the ceremony, and then they did my category second, and I didn't win. And then you just have to sit there after you lose for like.
Yeah, you can't just walk out, or people will get it.
Brutal.
That does suck.
So, all right, let's play the game, and then when Justice comes back, we will have a chance to see if he can join us for this end of it. Okay, so I'm gonna go to sleep.
Where did he go?
I don't know.
Go to sleep.
Wow, it's so quiet. Was it Justice this whole time? You didn't hear me say that.
What did you say?
Nothing? Thank you
I also want to.
Oh,
I heard something coming from him.
Tell me what happened.
what do you say, Siobhán?
I could ask you the same.
Oh, no,
thing.
no. I was just going to echo the sentiment when we were talking about drugs that you are not missing
didn't you
anything
run?
if you're not doing them. Don't ever feel pressured to participate in drug
what?
use. Well,
Oh,
we
yeah.
were talking about drugs
Well, I
before.
think that's
just
part of
wanted
the
to say
issue
that.
is like I think the way we've changed our view on weed is really great, but also I think like health wise, we're like, yeah, it's like it's not like smoking cigarettes. It's like you are inhaling.
It is
smoke.
so bad for
Like,
your lungs still.
It's not great for you.
No, but yeah, it's to each their own. Definitely don't do any of the ones that can
Exactly.
kill you. Marijuana won't kill you though.
No.
And
Gasoline,
it's
great drug.
healthier and less dangerous than alcohol, which is very socially
Absolutely.
acceptable. So
Absolutely.
I think
regular use of
everyone
marijuana is
should
less hard on your body, but
try if there are things that aren't gonna kill you with an overdose. It's worth trying.
Vaping is
once,
probably not
maybe,
great
but
for you either.
Don't.
vaping's
don't
also
push
really
it.
bad for your lungs.
Nice one,
Um,
Johnny Starlight
and-
says carry Narcan. Don't do drugs alone. Absolutely. Fuck yeah. We love that.
Also, yes, clarifying.
leave
I was
Max.
kidding about gasoline. Don't do gasoline.
doesn't mean
I hope
I
so.
didn't even hear that. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
somebody was like, Zach, are you serious? No, I'm not.
Oh
Turn
my
around, hands
goodness.
against the wall.
And everything in moderation.
Seriously?
Even
I'm too
weed.
tired to
Don't smoke
argue.
weed every day. It'll
except
fuck
for,
up your
except
brain.
for Jenkum. You should huff Jenkum every day, everybody.
What's
too.
Jenkum?
Jenkum is fermented human shit that you can huff.
Oh my god, I do know what Jenkum is. Yeah,
it was,
yeah,
it was a
What?
hoax. It was a hoax trying to. It was making fun
yeah,
of
it's
like.
not real.
It was
my
making fun
God.
of the like reactionary
Happy?
attitudes of like news channels with like this sensationalism of kids these days are all doing Jenkum.
Huffing
It was very
cat
funny.
piss and shit.
Yeah, it was very funny. It was a real thing, and they got all these news reports on it. Jenkum as a whole.
And then
Classic
people actually
hoax.
tried to fucking you're supposed to like leave it out in the sun and then you like huff it after like 30 days.
Why would anyone fucking do that? What is wrong
They
with
want to get
people?
high for free.
What the fuck?
What's this?
Moving on.
Anyways.
It's People Magazine.
Gaming,
Go to
guys. We
page
have to get through,
27.
we haven't even gotten through this chapter. Like,
It's a long chapter.
it is a long chapter.
Laura, North Kill Police Department, July 24th. Is this
Nice
the
job cleaning
the
that.
well speech?
Yeah. I mean,
Spoiler. But yes, I want to hear this speech.
It's harder than they make out in the textbooks. Especially when nobody's helping you.
you're the doctor.
I'm
I'm just literally listening
doctor,
to
and no,
silence.
I'm not.
Oh,
and I
Justice, check your
probably
download.
Never will be.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's ready.
Stuck in here forever.
You know, just because you know.
3
doesn't mean
minutes
you know.
left.
Whoa,
No.
should we stop at like after the speech?
What?
Yeah.
I'm not. This isn't what it seems to be.
You're gonna have to be more specific.
You and Max are in just as much trouble as I am. My
We
family-
all ate bean burritos. We're all in
never
for
did
a
that.
rough night.
We're just trying to survive like everybody else. Do you understand?
Not really.
We're gonna end this thing once and for all.
We?
Everyone take a sip.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated. Okay, so now I'm curious. Now this is a change in my feelings about this man. personally, how do you feel about this man?
I'm curious. I'm a little curious.
I'm confident always, but that's just me.
You'll be a lot more confident when your download finishes.
So, how is your family involved?
My family is down at the bottom of a well.
What?
Love that line, Reed.
Family is the most important thing in the world. But if your whole family, you know, like every last one of them decided to jump down the bottom of a well and they're all just hanging on the end of a rope, how can one person be expected to pull them all back out? You can't. So you pull on that rope and you're just going to fall right down at the bottom of the well with the rest of them. And what's the point of that?
Right, so you're the one at the top of the well with a rope? And...
Yes. I thought that was obvious.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I got it.
Just forget it. Let's see how smart you really are.
What is this?
Information.
Well, what does it mean?
Read it.
When full the moon above shines first,
Meow mix, please
internal
deliver.
Shall outward burst. One by one leads lambs to slaughter. It stalks your breath, but shuns clear water. And should you yourself be cursed, armed with silver and the first, when moon is full before its wane, rend the beast that cursed you slain. No longer shall you face your blight, or fear the dread of full moon's light.
Yeah.
No, leave it, because
Keep reading.
honestly, it's the only way I can hear it.
The echo? I don't know. I don't want to take the gun, right? We're not taking the gun.
No, don't take the gun. No.
Okay, cool.
And if it's a bite with which you're faced, cleave limb from torso with great haste. Perchance you'll save your cursed soul before infection takes its
Every
toll.
day's the Super Bowl.
Starting to get the picture.
It's not a lot to go on. And frankly, it's shit. Why did they have to make it rhyme?
I don't know. But it's all we have to go on.
Kill the werewolf that bit you and you'll be cured. It has to be silver, has to be full
Nice. Okay, we're getting. This is the important.
moon. Seems pretty straightforward to me.
We got the rules.
You shouldn't let
If you can
poets
kill the
like
werewolf,
you.
and that's a big if.
Thank you for the Lucy. Thank you for the Bjork.
I just want to cure Max.
Shouldn't let poets lie to you.
It's
Yeah,
not
who
as
wrote,
straightforward
who
as you
wrote the
think.
poem, do you think? Do we know who wrote that poem?
John Lennon. John Lennon.
I think it was John Lennon.
Okay, who didn't
Got the
vote?
vote.
Okay, yeah.
It's me.
Oh, someone said check if my game is ready. Let's look.
Yeah, you should
If
check
you
it.
knew
Oh,
all
yeah.
this, why didn't you just kill it in the storm
Oh,
shelter when you had the chance?
It's not
Hell
so,
yeah, it's ready
when
to
I
go!
say-
We
No, it's not-
finally did
they're
it!
not so easy
We
to hit. I
made
was
it to
trying to
the
protect
point
you,
where
too.
I can play!
Hell yeah. Okay, so after this scene, we'll pause and we will.
And I'm leaving in 15 minutes, so...
Are you really?
Great.
That's 4 hours.
3 hours. You
No, we
little
played
shit.
from 12. 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Oh, wait. Huh? Wait.
That seems like the
Mathematica
easiest
strikes
math to
again.
do.
Oh, just
Wait,
Mathematica
we normally
strikes
play-
again.
He's not just a
normally
pretty
play for-
face, just a pretty face.
We normally play for 3 hours.
We normally play for 3 hours.
From
We did
1
1 to
to
4.
4, but today we started at noon. So
now we're playing for today. We're playing for 4 hours.
That's what I had put it, but we don't have to. But do you want
Yeah,
to
it's been
No,
one week.
I'm down.
Catch up.
Fuck it.
Let's
I have nothing
try
else.
to do a little bit more. That'll be nice.
Yeah, it's been.
You can play.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, bud.
Put me in the
someone
game,
needs to
Cody.
vote. Someone needs to vote.
Oh, it's me.
You're not telling us
kidding.
everything.
I'm telling you everything you need to know.
You're
I
not
don't
telling
believe
us
you.
everything. I'm telling you
What if
everything.
killing
No,
ain't
I
an
don't
option?
believe you. What if
you had
killing
to use
isn't-
science?
ain't an option?
Use
What if you had to use
science.
science?
Yes.
Use science?
Just use
Just like
science.
that?
Thank you for the
Just
button.
like
Oh,
that.
genius.
I'll
Wait,
set
I'll
an
set an
80s
80s montage. I'm serious.
Wait, are you in now, Justice?
Not yet.
No.
We have to. Should I pause and it's just I figure we should
I also
finish the
can't
scene.
hear. I can't hear at all.
Yeah,
so
let's
I'm
end
creating
so
my
he
own
can-
audio. I'm creating my own audio. Since
Do you
I
want me to
can't
take
hear.
a break and get him in here and then see where we're at? I just.
Yeah.
All right.
Why is killing?
Yeah.
Try to hit our goal for
Why is
one.
killing not an option?
Okay, we're gonna take a break. Be right back, everybody. I'll see you in a second.
Can we just take a break?
All right, and we have
turn
everybody
my TV up.
in the game.
Yes. Bring on the proudness.
Did everyone have a good ad? What kind of ads did you get? Get some good ads? Did you get any ads? Well, here, I'll do an ad. I'll do another ad while we're waiting. Today's stream is today's stream is brought to you by Taco Bell.
If you ever want to shit yourself, if you're ever in the mood to shit your pants, Taco Bell. Are you looking to
Why
have
is killing not an
diarrhea?
option?
I had a
Taco
bit.
Bell.
I also
I think
had a
you're
bit.
protecting someone.
I'm sorry. Go back into the
Give
bit.
us your
It's
bit,
too late.
Miles.
No. We're moving on.
No, I was riffing. UCB. We're bouncing off
It's
each other.
really not how bouncing off works.
Zach, I can't quite put
Just
my finger on your type
trembling the
of
bit.
sense of humor. I just can't
Chaos.
quite figure out your.
All right, everyone's in the game. Everyone's in the game now. Here we go.
Oh yeah. Great.
I get to see the brilliant acting of Skylar, Siobhán, and Ted. Unless the scene's about to end. Is the scene about to end? I'm gonna be so mad if I miss the entire scene.
Probably.
I
No,
don't
this
think
is
I'd
an
believe a
important
word
part.
he just said if I hadn't,
I like the
if I hadn't
overalls
seen
look.
that.
Yeah.
It's cute. I
love
dig it too.
overalls. Overalls is my number
Very
one.
endearing.
My number one favorite outfit.
I believe him. I
Is
don't know
the-
what he said, but I believe it.
So it's the overalls look for the 50s and the regular version when you're in the jail?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I believe him.
Oh.
You
Well, look
can't
at that
tell me you wouldn't
sway.
trust that guy now.
I didn't say
I
that.
know.
I said I believe him about the werewolf stuff, not the science bit. I don't know what he wants.
He's a dirty lying kidnapping cop, Laura. We should be careful of anything that fucker says.
Ooh.
Not a bad point.
Ooh.
He's a dirty, lying, filthy, stupid cop pig.
He's had his chance to fix
Whoa,
this.
Max.
We're getting out of here and we're gonna
Max,
fix it all.
chill.
Whoa, Max, chill, dude.
Only time Max ever gets angry.
Laura?
Yeah.
Laura?
Yeah.
I saw what happened.
So Max
did
is a
to your eye.
werewolf. And now he's a human again.
Yeah.
Is it bad?
No,
Somebody
it's
said
pretty
just
fine.
went, somebody just said just went on Twitter. Hashtag justice is trending.
I'm so sorry.
Hell yeah. Why am I trending? What did I do?
And are we sure that it's you or the concept? That's what I want to know.
Probably the concept. It's probably the concept.
Okay. I'm gonna be empathetic here. I don't know about you guys.
Follow the path.
I think I'm resigned. Oh, but it doesn't matter.
I wish there was a meaner option.
Fuck you, Max, you dumb fuck.
It wasn't you.
Yeah, just straight
I know it
bad
wasn't
for
you.
him.
I know.
But it was.
Oh, how do we save Max? We have to kill Silas.
We're gonna fix you, Max.
We have to kill Max to save Max.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
You have to wring his neck.
Wow.
Okay.
Hey, we made it through the chapter, didn't we? Nope, never mind.
Can I be in there?
Wait, that we did. What are you talking about? That was the chapter. Or what are these mini things called? The scenes? What are they called?
Scrapped an abandoned car.
What are these?
Wow.
What are these called?
I worked out the
Scenes? What the
What
fuck?
are they called?
What's going on here?
Why?
Well, why'd you think, Chris?
Yeah, why you fucking think,
Wonder how
Chris?
many? I wonder how many days total David was on set.
You fuck one of them, Chris.
Catch it!
Oh, gotta
Oh
catch it.
shit!
Catch that shit. Catch.
Whoa.
Shit.
Who failed? Who
I
failed?
missed it.
Okay.
I did. I looked at the TV and couldn't see where the arrow was pointing.
it.
You shot me.
It's because you only have one eye. It's okay. I forgive you.
Exactly.
What's your plan? You can't keep him here forever.
I'm handling it.
Maybe if you'd done your job, they wouldn't have been at the camp that night. You ever think of that?
You ever fucking think of that,
I'd have done my
stupid
job. You'd all
idiot?
be in prison. You ever think of that?
That was all Bobby and Caleb. And
Are
you
those
know it.
hikers? And that fucking journalist?
You ever think of that?
What are we gonna do now?
Whatever happened to we're all in this together? Shh, man. Let's go to my office. We shouldn't talk here.
All in this together when we
Max.
Where's that from? That's a Disney thing, right?
What is it?
Let's go musical,
Travis was just in
baby.
the hall
Right,
talking.
right,
The cop.
So?
Someone said they brought up the
Chris
trending thing
Hackett.
because I told a story about how my name
Was he
was
here to let us
everywhere,
out?
and they're just showing again. They tried to shut
He's
me
the
out.
werewolf.
That's great.
Max. Chris Hackett.
So did
the
you all
one
get
that banged
that?
down in the storm
Down in the
shelter.
storm shelter.
Holy shit! That's
Really?
who would have guessed?
I mean, I guess thinking about it, I could have.
And yet you didn't.
It all makes sense.
I think
That's
Skylar's
why
super
Chris's
talented.
car was at the lodge that night.
Great.
Travis.
Did
was
anyone reach out to
protecting
him to come play with us?
That's why he followed us, and that's why he didn't
did,
kill
yeah.
the werewolf
Ron,
in
you
the
hit him
storm
up, right?
shelter because it was his
I did,
fucking
yeah.
brother. God, it's so
And he
He's
said,
the
"Go
busy
fuck
guy."
yourself."
If Chris was the
Yeah,
one
he
that
said
said I hate
absolutely
that
not.
game. Biggest regret of my life.
Well, then that's our cure.
He said, "I hate all of you."
Yeah.
Jesus, Laura, are we thinking
No,
the
he's
same
the
thing?
loveliest guy of all time.
Yeah, he's very
Other
sweet.
than you three.
Tomorrow we're getting out of here
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna get
Yay.
Travis's gun.
Jailbreak.
and kill Chris.
I'm
Hackett.
gonna take a dump he'll never be able
Jailbreak.
to forget. Why was she looking
Okay,
at that?
so killing Chris is really the way that we save
Help
Max.
Laura
How do we
needs
keep
help!
everyone alive? We can't do that.
We have to kill Chris. I don't know if is there a way to keep Chris alive? God.
Chris has
Oh,
to
what
shit.
happened to what happened to Laura?
What happened to Laura, guys? Get
happened
ready
to
to
her?
game. Get ready to game. Looks like she's in trouble.
What the hell's going on?
She having a baby?
She's having contractions.
Oh God.
Got him. Got him. 100% passed.
Got him.
Nailed him.
Got him.
That
Nailed
was
What's
the
in the
sound he made
syringe?
when I stabbed him. Oh,
Nailed
What's
him.
in the syringe?
Sleeping potion.
Is it wolf blood?
I think it's just.
I want a
sleepy time
North Kill
tea.
Police Department shirt. That's a great shirt.
It's a terrible shirt.
I know. I want
No.
that shirt.
But
I
think
just
it's,
don't-
It,
Good
feel,
luck,
it feels
good
very
luck,
like
Link.
Twin Peaks looking.
And someone that
I
shirt.
just don't understand how she did that with no depth perception.
Good point. Very good point.
I mean, you still have like a bit of depth perception. It's just like if
Yeah,
you're
like if you
driving,
close your
it's
eyes.
there.
Yeah.
Starting to think you were really sick.
Well, maybe I should consider acting as my major.
That wouldn't go.
We should go before he wakes
Yeah.
up.
They should kiss.
I was gonna say y'all are very affectionate with each other for
They should fuck in the cell.
Yeah, recreate that.
Like that
In
porno
the
you just
cell.
saw.
Yeah, like the porn I saw.
We have a new bingo. We have a new thing for the bingo card. I think.
Which is
fucking in the cell.
Horny Justice talking porn.
We should grab our stuff.
Silver ammo.
Just horny Justice is the
Justice making Rule 34 content for the web. I know.
I will say Zach is a little bit right in the sense that they are a couple and they've been separated for like 3 months now.
Yeah, I'd be all over
a good
it.
point.
The first thing I would do is kiss my
That is
partner.
a good point. But Justice, what if you had a camera attached to your face that made it really hard for you to get physically close
What about
to
that?
somebody?
And it was very difficult to animate.
Yeah, what if it was tough to animate that? Would you still want to do it?
Skylar also had it in his contract that he wouldn't kiss me even if it was 2 feet away
Does
from my
having your
face.
binocular attachment make it hard to kiss?
Impersonally?
Zach, I hate you.
It's
so
a throwback.
much.
What was your thing called?
No. It's
Oh
called a
yeah, my
callback.
binoculars.
Stop.
This guy went to UCB.
Yeah, see?
I actually can't. I can't kiss in real life. I try and I just hit a wall.
Oh man.
Have you seen the new there's a new bot command that says Zach
What is it?
slander. Every time
So
Zach
great.
gets slandered. No, it's every time that we slander you, Zach, they're counting.
Honestly, I bring it upon
God.
myself. I can't complain. I bring it on
You
myself.
do.
It's worth it though.
Sure do.
Why is he
Zach-
heat on his shirt?
Because he
Or
was
I hope
paid
it's
to
paid.
sell.
He's alone in his
Oh,
cell
so
for quite
just
a while.
because I'm captive, I can't make it look nice in here?
free.
Like, don't be stupid.
I do dig those
Of course, he
overalls.
was renovating a bit.
Okay, they're free, but are we?
Someone said
Someone
said R.I.P. Jacob, the only counselor who didn't get a smooch.
Is that true? Do
He's
you
not
ne-
the only one. He's not the only
Do you
one.
never get a kiss?
I never get a
Me?
kiss. No.
Oh.
Wait, but Siobhán, do you
No,
not
Laura,
get a kiss
do
either,
you-
Laura? There's no
Siobhán
I mean,
doesn't get a
without
kiss.
spoiling the game, no, I don't
no.
get a single fucking kiss.
We're not free until Chris Hackett is dead.
But Laura doesn't need a kiss because she's
Laura
a true
and-
alpha.
We've got much time.
Laura and
I know.
the
you're
alpha
right,
male
let's just
break
take the win
have
for
a
now.
kiss, right?
Yeah,
No.
French
Celebrate
kiss.
when it's
They
over.
make out.
Or they
like,
they should have a
intensely.
story.
Did
They
they
should have a
leave-
kiss.
did
I
they
feel like
leave-
that should be an option.
And we're
Did they
ending
leave the scene where Jacob practices kissing on his hand? Like,
No, that was actually just a blooper that they caught me doing in between takes, and they're gonna leave it in the game, but I asked them not to.
he drew a little face on it, a little Emma face.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You ever made a little hand
Yeah.
face? Really fun.
Is that the end of the chapter?
Yo, did we do it?
Nope.
I think
Keep
we
going.
I think we did it. No?
And I made my way
I think maybe we did it.
to camp.
Oh.
Left Max.
No.
Left Max.
Oh,
at the
we're back.
island. Seemed like the best place for him, surrounded by water and all.
Now that you say
What?
now, here I am.
That's
Wait,
it.
what island were they
That's
on?
the story.
The one with where we had
Well,
to like zip
Jen-
line
You're
off
about
of?
to find out. You're about to find out.
Wait. The island? Like our island? Like the one in the lake?
Yeah, why?
Because Jacob, he went back there looking for Emma and he hasn't come back yet.
Getting
Now
feedback.
Dad has. Oh shit.
What is that, Miles?
What is that?
It's
Oh, you
so
did
weird
it
that you can see through your hand. You can see through where the eyes are. Do you see that? That's so trippy.
I was
That is weird.
I was the partner that Jacob practiced to kiss. On
Wow, you
set.
sound just like Halston.
Yes.
It's fucking crazy.
And,
Wait, guys.
Yeah.
The chat is making a good. They're making a good point. They never explained where Laura got the eye patch.
That is true.
Well, if they were there, they're not there now.
Fashion doesn't need rationalization.
Don't
Yeah,
let me
maybe
spell
she
out
made
for
it.
you.
I think Calvin
I'm just coming
Klein
back
said
from
that
there and
once.
there's one
They
werewolf
cut
and
my
no people.
scene. I was actually on set as a
All I
Apache
know is I
salesman,
have to do this.
and they
I
cut
have
my
to kill Chris
scene
Hackett before it's too late.
because I was not
What did you-
extra.
What did you do in your scene? What was your scene? Oh, you're non-union.
After you saw
Yes,
me
I
at the
was
pool,
non-union,
after
and
I
these
shot
These
Chris.
fuckers, they denied me my scene, my chance. to
How did
become
you?
union.
How did you? You said you weren't. So are you SAG now?
Yes, I have been on Law and Order for the past 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
Yes,
Congratulations!
thank you so
Wow,
much. Yes, very
getting your
important to me.
SAG card is a big step.
It's
I'm
a
very
big
proud of
step
you and
for
happy
me.
for
I've been
you.
doing my procedural, and these fantastic. I'm playing dead bodies.
See, now she has an eye patch. Where did she get that?
Okay, you know, this is one of those situations where it's like, oh, it's actually a video game. It's not real. Justice.
Where did she get fingerless gloves, too?
I don't know. How come Dylan didn't bleed out when his arm was cut off and his artery would have been bleeding him out in like 10 seconds?
We put pressure on it.
My ass and my pecs don't look like my ass and my pecs. Look.
Do you want to
Pressure would not stop you
it.
from bleeding out.
Do you want
of
to
your
ask?
arm
Do you
hole.
want to ask the actor who played my left hand?
No.
It was actually a
Oh,
very
yeah.
complicated scene, and they cut my scene. But we had a whole backstory attached about Dylan's clogged arteries, and they cut my scene again because I was not union.
Dylan just eats a lot of trans fats, so his arteries are like pretty much clogged anyway.
Yeah, your high cholesterol actually saved you.
All right, game time. Here we are.
Game time.
Uh-oh.
So we're on the island now, Justice. We're on the island. This is another flashback. She's gone to the island to...
wasn't it?
Yeah.
This is where Emma was.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I think we got a gamer girl moment.
Gaming.
Gamer girls, gear up. Okay, and she's dead. All right, well that was easy. Oh.
Ow.
So basically, I shot...
Kiss.
Yeah. Who's that? There's a dead werewolf? Oh.
Let me explain. So I went and I shot the person that I thought was the werewolf that bit Max. So once I shot that werewolf, I was like, cool, Max should be cured. I can go back to the island. I go back to the island and Max is still a werewolf. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, I guess I must have shot the wrong thing. It's a bit
Right, because
confusing.
you shot Kaylee. You killed Kaylee.
Yeah, but I just saw it as the werewolf, and
paddle,
werewolves do not have pronouns.
Where's our QTEs?
I don't know.
Well, I guess there are no QTEs here because we know that Laura survives this.
Yeah.
Because she's
Right.
in the future.
Right.
Thank God God of War didn't release until now. Is it eligible for the game for the video game?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, that and Elden Ring. We're just gonna clean everything up.
Oh yeah, we're so boned.
We're so fucked. I know. I thought maybe it didn't make the cutoff, but it did.
So the werewolf I killed can't have been Chris.
That wasn't a werewolf. It was Kaylee Hackett, Chris's daughter.
Whatever I shot, that was no girl. Unless I guess...
girl.
it
I hate
turned
that
back
Ryan
after I
still
shot
doesn't
it.
think there's werewolves.
the
Like,
island.
bro.
Wait, so
There's a lot of
Max
evidence
didn't
pointing to the
kill you.
fact that there's werewolves, including the fact that you saw it 2 times.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know what that was.
Was
Too far away.
Was you there? Were you there when Evan transformed? No, you're not in that house, right?
No.
Evan transformed and
When he
slashed
take-
Abby's face off?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Aren't
think
we
you
all
were
there?
there, weren't you?
Yeah, we're all there.
Just
I'm not there.
deny.
I got away.
Deny.
I need to end this.
Oh, you get bit?
Yeah. Oh no.
Come on, big man.
Can we? I like this part. It's funny.
We don't have much
Oh,
time.
is this where you realized? Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Zach. Ryan is in denial because he trusts Chris, yeah. Ryan and Chris, they go way back.
Bye. I thought in the trailer she was saying say goodbye when she's like say goodbye. But she's actually saying take a bite.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Smell good, don't I?
Take a bite.
Go on. Take a bite. Come on.
Say goodbye.
Oh, she's
Dumb
so
fucking
evil.
animal.
Did any of you guys get to work with her?
No, but she's great.
Zach, did you?
No, but I've
Let me go! Let me fucking go! Get your hands
We
off
had a
me!
nice dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
After the dead meat thing.
What are you doing? What are we doing?
Lead.
I'm gonna make.
I'll do anything. Please
I'm
let me
making
go.
Jacob a bootlicker. Let's go.
Let me go!
Alright, let me cover!
You're making him a what?
Cops!
A bootlicker. He's gonna call the cops. This is also the start of a porno that I watched the other day.
Yeah, baby.
That is.
You're into some fucked up shit, Justice.
But it's all consensual.
Not that I'm judging, yeah.
He's very oily.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh God, this is literally the
I've
porn.
seen this one. Yeah, I've actually seen this one. I've seen this exact same one.
Yeah,
I have seen this one. I have seen this
two
one.
oily, shirtless guys.
Yeah.
With just his nipple showing with like the one strap down.
Yeah.
One strap. A one-strapped, oily, giant.
Hey!
Redneck.
Hey! Hey, where you going? Hey!
Hey, you want me to lock you in a cage, little boy?
And there's some wild shit with me and Bobby already created that I've seen. I'm just gonna.
Where do you find this stuff?
Drop the link.
Oh, people tag me on Twitter. It's pretty crazy when people will tag you on Twitter.
No one tagged me in Twitter.
Okay, so who's the werewolf in the other thing?
That's, I guess, a question. That we're not. Oh my God, Zach.
Do we not know that?
I don't think we know that.
No.
Well,
We don't know who that is. That's someone, but we don't know who that is.
Be careful what you wish for.
No one told you were a werewolf.
All right. Is that the end of the chapter?
I think it is.
Nope.
Shut up,
Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah.
It is.
Yes, I've seen what you sick people post online.
Don't believe
I see
everything
it.
you hear.
I see the things you post.
Anyway, here we are again. Let's see what you've brought.
Everybody is
shall
a
we?
sick fuck.
Yeah, no. If anyone ever saw my hurt search history, I'd be
The
devastated.
chariot. At the
If
reins
there's
of
any
the
hackers
chariot,
out there,
we would all
please drop
feel
Zach's search history.
Zach's search
Control
history into the
rely
chat.
on determination to make our choices. Valiant, but in some cases foolish. Many seek refuge in chariots, but perhaps in some cases they're not as safe as we think they are.
God, another person I wish I had just been able to work with for one day.
Ah, the world. Often travelers' paths are direct, but sometimes it is not so simple. Sometimes they're intertwined with others. Compassion over anger. You'll need friends where you're going. It's not until we fall into the belly of the beast that we realize how perilous things can be. And the same question as always. Will you let me show you more?
What do you think?
right?
What do you think?
Yeah.
No.
No?
Jess is using his vote.
Chariot
So glad to be
or
here.
World. Only one
You
future
know,
can be seen.
even though I
Choose.
didn't get what I wanted, I still voted, and
What do you-
that's an
and that's what
important
matters.
lesson
That
for
is.
everyone.
The chariot or the world? What do you say?
You should vote.
Shout out the Democrats holding on to the Senate.
Did
What's
everyone
that?
vote the other day?
What's voting?
What's that?
Did everybody
Wow.
vote the other day?
I don't know what you mean.
Everyone's real silent. I guess no one voted.
I can't actually, so I have a good excuse.
You'll be seen
Or you
more
ask in chat.
more times.
You're kidding.
Because I'm in Japan. Yeah.
If you want, I voted. It doesn't
As
mean
long
very
as
much
you
in New York, but
follow
I
the
did. I
right
voted for the
path,
resolutions. That's the important thing.
Someone wrote, "I have to vote to cancel out my dad." Yeah, buddy, that's I think a lot of people would agree with you there.
All right, we finished the chapter.
Siobhán, you're currently in Canada right now?
Yeah,
she lives there.
Wow, I didn't know
You
Canada
live in
looks
Canada?
so purple.
Wait.
I didn't know that
Canada
Siobhán
is
lived
beautiful.
in
Yeah,
Canada.
You didn't?
No, I thought
Yeah,
you moved
I'm
here
in-
and you're just from Canada.
No, I live in Vancouver.
Crazy. That's crazy.
So
That's
crazy,
insane.
maybe.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
That's so wild.
I'm so sorry about the Canucks. I'm so sorry.
I'm
about
not
the
a Canucks fan.
I know, but for everyone who is,
What happened with the Canucks?
they just it's bad. All right, so
Hell
we're gonna get this
yeah.
next chapter started. We got a beautiful Justice on the screen here. I'm just gonna pause for 1 minute, and we're just gonna talk off camera for a second to figure out how much longer we're trying to go. So just give me 1 second, everybody, and take a quick break. Only 1 minute this time, and we'll be right back. See you soon.
Perfect.
All right, we're back. And we are going to the console. We lost Zach. Oh, but we have the guy who eats ice cream. We got the ice cream guy, so he can tell us how we're doing. So we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going for another 45 minutes. So let's keep this rocking. And here we are.
People are staying up. People
Where
are saying
is
that
Chris
they're like
Hackett?
trying to. They're so tired and they need to go to bed, but they're gonna stay up.
Oh, you guys
Very
are
sweet.
Over this.
It's worth it. That means we can get through the rest of the game in one more stream. Otherwise, it might be tight.
It's true.
I said,
asking-
shut up.
Shut up.
I'll go with Justice on this.
Who didn't vote?
I want to see Laura school
Says
Ryan.
shut
So
up.
can you guys
You've
follow
done enough
my
talking.
directions
Okay,
for the
so you
next
talk. Say
one
what
or
you
two
gotta say.
choices?
Okay.
Brian, maybe this is a bit much. I mean, just think about everything that's happened tonight.
Here's Brenda.
Oh, there she is. So do the unconvinced.
All this
I'm
over a
not letting her
poem?
kill Chris. No way. Not over some old-timey poem.
You want to take a look at your friend and tell me it's just a poem? Get kidnapped? Thrown in a cell? Have 2 months of your life ripped away and then tell me it's all just a poem? Helplessly watch someone you care about burst out of their skin, watch them try to kill you twice, then tell me that what I'm trying to do, what I need
This is
to
a good
do
scene.
is based on a fucking poem? One way or another, this ends tonight. If you're gonna shoot me, fucking shoot me.
Fucking throw down, Siobhán. Damn.
Yeah, come on
Hell
now,
yeah.
Siobhán.
And
I'm
Zach,
pulling the
Zach,
trigger.
can you put your
Pull it,
headphones on?
trigger.
Pull
Yeah,
the
they
trigger.
They are on.
Oh, you're
Are they, is it? I'm getting feedback.
Yeah, if you just turn down your mic a little bit or
Let me-
something. Or where is your mic placed?
Shooter!
Thank you for that. All right.
Shooter.
Wait, we're
Shooter,
shooting?
Face.
I'm not joking, bitch. Shooter.
Yeah, shooter.
Oh my god.
Damn, dude. Damn, you just got schooled. Holy shit.
Dickhole.
Yeah, Abby has no head. We already got Abby killed. Who else are we gonna kill? We have to kill some people. It's a horror movie.
So, come on.
Kill everyone that's not us.
I
Where
volunteer
does
as
Chris Hackett
tribute.
live? When he's not
I don't
at
want to
camp,
kill anyone else. I want to save
No.
everybody.
I've actually never gotten you through the game ever.
Me?
What?
No, I've never gotten you or Caitlin through the game. Every single playthrough, I've tried so hard.
I want to get infected.
Even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you.
Real mature.
Hey, thanks.
He's not
Mag
in a
has
storm shelter.
rabies.
I'm clearly getting nowhere hunting him in the woods. I need a place to start.
I think that spooky house behind these woods.
Dude!
What?
Is that me feeding back? I don't think that's me.
Chop. Who's feeding back? Yeah. It's just the TV. That's for sure. Okay, so
Oh.
it's just the TV. Maybe there's another way.
Listen, there could be another way. Have you thought about that?
I've spent the last month thinking about nothing else.
Yeah, it's deaf to you, Zach. Your screen's going
Look,
green.
When the sun comes up, I am stuck until the next full moon.
Is it gone?
So is Max, so is anyone else he's bitten.
How is that our problem?
now
Why
it's
don't
you,
you ask
Justice.
your
It's
friends
not
in the
me.
woods?
Don't forget about
My audio's
It's okay.
off.
Turn it down a
Sorry,
tiny bit.
Okay, any closer, we're gonna have to spray you two with cold water.
Just turn it
Ryan,
down.
let's just get out of here.
My dog I think, has to
Pile
go to the
on
bathroom again.
I'm
I gotta take
running
my
out of
dog to the
time.
bathroom, guys.
If I
Did
can't
he
find
did he make
Chris Hackett,
cumsies on
then
your arm again?
A lot
He's
more
about to
people
come,
are
so
going
I
to get
gotta
hurt.
take him out.
Right.
Keep playing. Keep playing.
My dog is about to bust. I have to take him out.
Yeah, what they said.
Okay, I'll do the choice. There.
There's no way I'm letting a murdering fugitive like you go anywhere near Chris on your own.
Wow, are you flirting with me?
What? No.
Oh,
Fine,
cute.
do
Him telling his
whatever
dog
you
to sit
want.
off camera.
You saw what happened to Nick. He
That's
was
so
bitten.
cute.
Everything's gonna be fine. That cop car you stole, where is it?
Ditched in the lake.
Why?
It was a stolen cop car.
You're gonna have to try and fix the minivan. Get somewhere safe.
Gotta try and fix the minivan.
How long do you have?
Get somewhere safe.
An hour or two, I don't know.
Well, I
It
still
doesn't
have
seem
the
like an exact
rotor arm
science.
because I got it.
Then we better get going.
I think you do, but it's in your butt. Because you're in your undies. Should we wait for Justice to get back? We can take a quick pause. It's fine.
Are you sure this is the right way?
For this part or no?
Sure.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Let's take, okay, we'll just take.
He's walking normally.
It'll just, yeah.
He can
we'll
walk
just take,
normal.
take 1 minute.
It's not run.
Take 1 minute. Everyone just hang on for 1 second. We're gonna take a minute. Wait for Justice.
What are you guys doing the rest of today?
BRB. Or yeah, I can leave us live here. We
I'm not doing nothing.
I'm chilling. I've been working on some tunes lately, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I
did
played
you
some
do your
Overwatch.
release? Yeah, I'm down. I was supposed to have a date, but it got canceled because it's happened twice now.
Dang.
So
Same
that's
girl?
great. No,
Same
different
girl
girl.
or different girls?
No, different.
Uh-huh.
I just
What?
have great luck apparently. But you know what? More video games for Zach.
Yeah, this
We
is
win in the
the
end.
better. It's better than going on a date.
Yeah,
You
so
date-
much.
unless
so
the
much
date's
better.
really good.
Yeah, right.
Actual Mippy Moo's asking when the album's coming out. I don't know yet.
Yeah, that's what I was
trying
gonna
to
say.
Figure it out.
What-
I gotta find the right
Listen-
label. I'm trying to figure out the right place to put it out. Our last label fell apart during COVID, and so I've been trying to find a new home.
But weren't you, I thought you had like a official release?
We did it. I did a cassette release. I did like so there's out in the world there are 100 physical cassettes of the album, and that's the only place you can listen to it.
Ash, come.
And
Oh, shit.
I thought that would be more fun to do it that way and start sending it around to some people. So
Ash,
Right.
come.
there's only one song on YouTube, but other than that, yeah. All right, but we got Justice back, and we're very happy about it. So let's keep this rocking.
Wait, has Johnny Starlight heard the album?
Yeah, Johnny came to the show in Brooklyn, the cassette release.
Oh, wow.
And so did Caroline Benefic,
Cool.
and Brooke, and Demenda, and who else was there? I forget. There's like some names.
Marlene is in Caroline, right?
No, Benefic.
Okay. Shout out
and a
Carlini
few other
again. I'm looking at that.
I know I'm
125.
blanking on
Thank you.
someone who came, and I feel really bad. But everyone, came to the. Raise your hand if you were at the show, and I forgot you. I'm sorry. I didn't forget you. I just forgot what the name of your gamer tag was. Anyway, they came to the show, and some people bought cassettes, and they have them. Everyone who came to that show has them. But no one else does. Anyway, we're moving on. We're gonna
Pretty
play
or
this game.
definitely?
What do I look like? A tour guide?
Oh, I love this scene.
You remember this? You remember making this, Justice?
I do remember making this.
What
This
should we
was a really
say?
fun
What do
scene.
you
We
what
did
do you want
this?
us to do? What do you want us to say?
Too late.
What do you want us to say? Inquisitive?
Have you been there?
Have you actually been there before?
I mean, no.
Wait, seriously?
I know as much as you do.
No.
So, you're a psycho.
Me?
Shooting someone point blank with a sawed-off? Yeah, that's really strict.
I was scared.
Come on, it wasn't even loaded.
I didn't know that.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have pulled the trigger then, huh?
Why are you like this?
I love that. Why are you like
Why are you like this?
This is a really good scene. Is there like fanfic of like stuff about Laura and more? I feel like that's a total coupling.
I don't know.
Well,
you're the master.
You're the fanfic. You're the fanfic.
I only get tagged in my stuff. I don't get tagged in y'all's things.
Well, I'm pretty sure the writers are trying to make us a thing.
I'm not doing this for
But it
revenge.
never happens, right?
I need to save Max.
I mean, that's a big spoiler.
Anyway,
but...
spoilers.
What am I supposed to do? Just leave him like this?
I think it's
I owe
up
it
to.
to
I
him.
mean, what
Like I
really
said,
happens? A lot of what happens
of a
is
fucked up
just
summer.
in the fanfic and in the ships.
Oh, and everyone ships Ryan and Dylan. Ah, I remember that. No, I
Sorry,
remember.
Siobhán. And sorry, Justice.
The only person anyone ships Laura with is Travis. Seems like.
Who am I ship with? No one. I mean, Emma,
Just
kind of.
Every
but-
dude in the game.
You and Bobby.
Yeah.
There's Jacob Dylan
So he lives
stuff. I
in
think.
some redneck
Yeah,
mansion
yeah,
with
yeah.
his redneck
Like you're
family.
Very
in the
honored.
back of the woods. Look at this
I
place.
am. Can I get somebody make one where it's me with like my ass?
If we're looking for
like I'm like
answers,
hugging my ass.
Zach with his own ass. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So, wait.
There's
how
two
does it get
Zachs.
No, just me, and then and I'm not like I'm
do
not.
we get
My ass isn't
to
cut out
that?
of me, but then there's
Someone
another
said-
part of me that's my ass.
Someone said Jacob times car.
Can I?
Times car. Oh yeah, that's good. Times rotor.
Just don't.
Can I request fanfic like Rule 34 of me having a sexual relationship with the crane?
Or with your arm, your detached arm.
Oh God! Oh no,
That
the
seems
arm one.
likely. Okay. What about?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of things you can do with a stub.
Will you
Or
stop protecting
Is there
him?
any
Whose
like
side are you on?
crossover
At this point, I have no
stuff?
fucking idea.
There is a lot more to this than you realize.
Like what?
Ooh,
Crossovers,
spoiler
there's a
miles.
Murder,
Someone said
hush
spoiler
money. I think the
miles.
whole
I
goddamn
spoiled.
Hackett family
That
is
goes
in
to
on
me,
it.
so-
Maybe the
Oh,
whole camp.
spoiler! There's
maybe
a
even you,
crane
for
in
all
the
I know.
game. Oh yeah, you just ruined everything.
Yeah.
Walk away.
That's my kind of spoiler, and your kind of spoiler is like
I'm sorry.
is it
I
at the
figured
end when
instead of
so-and-so dies?
Standing around listening to
Remember,
people
like, the
complain, I actually
relationship
try to
they're going
find
for
a
right
way
now,
across.
this is
Game
how it
ruined. We know there's a crane.
Oh shit! Oh wow! Wow!
Bye.
In a hole.
Go in the hole with the water.
This is probably my favorite logistical moment of the game, as we fall like 60 feet into some water that's like 3 feet deep, but we're fine.
Interesting.
we're totally
wow! Wow! Good point.
Like we could both stand up in it. Like look at it. Well, I guess maybe just on the sides.
Oh, she hits
Actually,
the
it
water.
looks like Ryan can't stand up.
She
in
hits
it.
the water. Is this? Yeah. This looks like.
could've
Is this?
died.
Are we gonna find any
We-
Wendy's down here?
We could have died.
I'd like.
I saw this really
But we
interesting
didn't.
theory that was like the
It's nothing, you'll be
infection,
fine.
the werewolf infection, like
And you don't look delicious
exacerbates
to me yet,
who
so
you
I
are.
guess
So
that
like
means we still
Jacob
have
gets
time.
really insecure and like
Come on,
thinks
let's find a
everyone
way
hates
out.
him, and like
It's not
Emma
fun.
lashes out on her fans. It's
a
very
bit funny.
interesting.
Oh, cool.
Or just get smarter and more cool.
What does Dylan
Laura just
do?
getting turned more into a badass. No, chat if you wanna.
Marion Jazz Hands.
If you wanna
Jesus, Mary,
contribute
Jazz
here,
Hands,
and-
classic.
Jesus, Marion Jazz Hands. I hated that line.
What are you doing?
I
in
hated
public?
it so
In
much.
public?
In public? What do you mean?
They're
we
gonna
glad
see
you have
this,
grandma.
man.
I
gonna be
did.
so-
I hated that line. I did not know how to say it.
Well, your eyes
Laura
changed,
remembers
Laura.
Yellow in my eyes.
Oh, you have yellow eyes.
Laura's heart's changed.
Oh shit.
Define yellow.
Damn.
I want to remember what line it was that you struggled with so much, Justice. I can't remember it, but I know I'll know it when we get to that point. But the one where you were like, "Can I not?" Do you remember it?
I'm pretty sure it was Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
I love this fit.
No,
yeah, Justice. This fit is great. The high waisted.
It's a fire.
It's
fit.
really
Yeah,
good.
It's so good.
It's really good.
The
It's really good.
high-waisted?
Wait, what? The high waisted pants? Those are pretty high waisted.
Oh.
No? Are those above the hip?
I'm watching
Those
my
look like they're
TV,
above the
which
hip.
isn't the 50s. That's
Oh,
true.
I see.
Right.
Is there something around the corner here? What other kind of crossover fanfics do we want? Is there one like?
What is that on the ground?
Is there one of like me and it's like Dylan and Ryan and Mrs. Potts from The Beauty and the Beast?
You make me and Mega Man things.
Can't believe you guys are just requesting fanfic.
I'm requesting Rule 34 of me and Ryan treating Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast like the princess that she is. And we're treating her well, and it's all about her, and we're not even focusing on ourselves. It's all about Mrs. Potts.
This makes me so uncomfortable for so many reasons.
All the comments are just like
This is
Miles,
really
stop.
fucked up, you guys. Yeah, not okay. We're
having
crossing
sex
so many
with a
lines right now.
teapot?
It's a teapot. What's wrong? I don't know. Okay, I don't understand why you're upset by it.
She's like an old lady.
No, she's a teapot.
But she's an old lady. She's an old lady
ladies
trapped
have
in a
sexual
teapot's
relations.
body.
Yeah,
Not,
what's wrong with
Old
that?
ladies have.
No, this is disrespectful to Mrs.
Why?
Potts.
If she's
It's
if she's into it,
disrespectful.
Because
to the
it's an
fictional
innocent
elderly
movie.
lady.
Yeah.
if she
This is
wants
wrong.
it,
This is okay.
Miles, you're just as bad as Zach. Zach's sexualizing animals. You're sexualizing old
She
ladies.
is thick. Like I don't know what you want. From me.
Apologize.
I don't know what you want
Apologize.
from me. She's curvy and she has porcelain skin.
she is short and stout.
It's her.
It's beautiful.
So do you think
Back it's Quarry.
since
She's warning us off.
since she's a teapot, you think
Or
that
guiding
like
us.
the only place that you could technically
Okay, let's just
like-
we're just gonna keep moving.
I have a. Did you guys all like
But
take a
this,
Cialis?
this is my handle. This is my spout, Justice. That's what I'm thinking.
but that hole is really small. She has a larger hole.
Shit,
in the top of her head.
oh,
Oh no! Oh no!
We have to.
No,
Uh-oh.
they can't have done.
This place is not up to
That
code.
was so funny.
I mean,
But I
if
feel
the
like your
code
line is
literally crumbling to the
coming up.
ground,
Maybe
then I
not,
think
though.
it's doing fine.
Wait, your eyes are back to normal now.
Let's just
Mm.
keep moving.
What
Let's
the
just
fuck? You're
keep
not
moving.
yellow
That's
anymore.
right. That's what we say when
Careful.
Did I just push her?
Yeah, I saw that. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, what the fuck was that? It looked like I pushed her.
Tried to kill Laura.
I think someone should do a fanfic of the Quarry with Lord of the Rings. Any character's fine.
Can I be Legolas?
What was it?
I was just gonna say Laura with Legolas.
Oh, come on.
So I'm not sure.
Who would I be paired with? Gimli?
Oh, paired
Gollum.
with. Ooh, interesting.
Oh,
shit.
Whoa!
Whoa, whoa,
Oh, nice.
Oh fuck! I wasn't paying
nice.
attention. Ooh,
He look.
huge!
Very cute.
Cute.
Very cute. Very cute.
See,
Very
there's
cute.
moments like this where we're like on top of each other and
I
stuff
could really
like
do
that.
with a hamburger right about now.
You look like you have lip gloss on.
Damn, you really
I
just
got it
pushed
from
her.
Justice's mouth.
I pushed her because, oh my god, that scene, Siobhán. Remember, we did it standing up, but they said that they were gonna animate us lying down, and I'm pushing
Yeah.
you because I'm pushing her off of me because that's what they told.
Right.
Oh my
our
god,
woman
are you
to happen.
serious?
Boys.
That's
Yes.
hilarious.
But then they just kept it us standing up.
Wow.
No, I
But yeah,
think
it
we
was
were
just
lying
really-
down just now, weren't we?
Justice,
No?
right now, you.
Yeah, but that wasn't. We didn't shoot it. That was just like they animated.
Right.
it.
Justice,
We didn't
right
actually-
now,
Right.
right
Oh,
now,
yeah, yeah.
right now, it looks like we're trying to obscure your identity for like witness protection services.
Do you think?
I
Oh
can't
my
get
God,
sun
this
is
is-
shining.
Wait,
bright.
I'm sorry. You're just
Can you with
holding
us?
this hunk of
Either that or
skin
Ew, what the
rough
fuck
enough
is
just
that?
to-
without
Wait, it was
gloves?
that line. It was that line. It was that line. That was the one. Either that or this route isn't as disused as we thought. You were
I
like,
missed that.
disused?
Oh yeah, I remember that
we
too.
were there. You were like, I would never say that. Disused?
Is that like a
You
British
were like, that's
thing?
not a word.
Is that like
Yeah,
British
I
thing or
remember that.
something?
I remember that. I remember that.
I'm not sure.
Well,
I thought
I'm
you
not
would.
sure either.
And
First cave
thought you
out.
would.
And then the way you
Who's
say it, you're like,
finding their funny
even in the
bone?
game, you're like, either that or this
Cave in,
route
what about
isn't
cave
as
out? Nice.
disused as we thought.
Because I'm like, I don't. This is not English, but okay.
You're like,
what's the
these
deal,
words
then?
do not like
do you mean?
fit in my mouth.
The whole mysterious
Disused?
brooding loner thing.
I don't know if
doesn't
you guys,
quite
if you guys
fit with
can't
that.
tell, I have a lot of
Exactly her
problems with
vibe.
a lot of things.
I guess-
so
I
don't
guess
fit
we're on
into the
ads
right
right now. Do we
box.
care?
Is that what you're saying?
Look, if you don't want ads, you can subscribe. We gotta keep pushing.
Yeah,
on.
subscribe.
We've been taking.
Subscribe.
You get less ads because of me putting it while we take breaks, but I guess Bezos
Gift
keeps
people
the-
subs.
Do all the subs to Miles.
You know that's not what I mean.
I've been coming here for years. You get to know a place, and it feels like a second home. You know?
Omi, thank you for the gift
I mean,
subs. That's very kind.
Until now.
Thank
Welcome
you,
back
Omi.
in,
What
Rob.
about your friend?
Oh, it's
subs.
Roy.
Here we go.
Roy's always out here gifting subs.
Oh, this is the guess. part. This is the part.
I'm kind of closer to Dylan.
kind of closer to Dylan though. After
Wait,
tonight.
what?
I don't know.
Trauma can
Why?
bring people together.
Yeah, because of
And vodka.
because we
Oh,
kissed
so
and
What
it's
about
awkward.
You? Who do you like?
So what about you?
I
Who
thought
you
that
like
was
more?
good.
Here we go.
I don't know.
Here we go. Here's the line. I don't know.
Maybe neither.
Maybe neither.
How
So,
do I quit?
fun fact about that line. Fun
Thank
fact.
you, Sean.
How do I quit the game?
Fun fact about that line is
Tell us.
the line is supposed to imply I don't like either of them because I kind of like you. But when I watch it back, I think the line kind of implies that Ryan is an asexual king and
Maybe.
doesn't like nobody.
Interesting.
Just
Honestly,
committed to
I
being
could-
an alpha.
I could.
He is
I could
he
see
is the
that.
ace representation of the game.
Are you making that
And-
canon right now? It's your
Yeah,
character,
Ryan,
dude.
This is gonna be. This is gonna.
Ryan's
have legs.
This is
asexual.
big.
This is gonna have legs.
Are you making a statement? Is
This
Ryan
is-
asexual?
I think I don't know. Based off the way it looks, it sounds like he's asexual.
But you know what's funny is I think that Laura's kind of
Goodbye,
asexual
Rylan.
too. So maybe they can be like asexually sexual together.
Yeah, honestly, they can be. Yeah, asexual people date. That's the thing. They just don't have sex. So
Yeah.
Now
maybe
what
they'll
about now?
end
What
up
about
together.
now? What about with teapots?
Now, as
I'm gonna
everyone
pee.
knows,
All right, we're moving on. Hype train is
asexuality does include.
It
teapots.
doesn't.
This way.
It doesn't.
Includes-
It
like-
doesn't
includes teapot.
apply to.
Yeah.
Timothy's BF.
Oh, it does.
hey, it's Sean. Thank you so much.
Or
for
you
these,
can just
these subs.
hang out here. Up to you.
I'm slowly
Miles,
moving
why is
together.
everyone telling you enough?
Oh, watch out.
Oh, guys, gaming.
Oh,
I'm
shit,
the
I
only one
missed
who
it.
passed. I'm the only one who passed.
I missed.
I passed, or
No.
maybe I didn't.
I was the only one.
I tried though.
Thanks
I
for
at
I'm
least
trying
I
to move to the
tried.
other side of my couch
You had
right
it
now.
under control.
Thanks for your help, jackass.
Oh, is that the ace flag I'm seeing in the chat? I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's the ace flag. That's the asexual flag.
I didn't know what that is. Okay,
Hearts
Wheel of Fortune.
with the
who wants to
hand?
read it?
Hype train, guys. We almost have a hype train.
This is a sick card, by the way. What do we? So who wants to read it?
I'll take this one.
The Wheel of Fortune. After all, fortune is nothing but a spinning wheel. Sometimes you have to take a chance. Karma works in mysterious ways, but it favors those who pay attention. Watch closely. Through the wheel spins, the eagle-eyed can tell where it's going.
Craig just screamed while you were giving that beautiful reading. That was a beautiful.
Great.
That sounded like British Don Corleone.
The cold.
It was beautiful. Thank you.
with the cold.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was. Yeah, blow your nose. Roy, thank you for the other 5 gift subs.
Oh,
And
we
Ibuki,
got a level
we got
2
a
hype train.
rocking. Thank you so much. Oh my God, Omi, another.
Let's
another
keep
gift
it going,
alert.
baby.
Another gift sub. Thank you so much. All right, we're gonna keep this game rocking, but keep that hype coming. And Skyrox, thank you for the sub with the Bezos cash. We're gonna keep this game rocking, and I'm gonna Carlini again. Oh, my God.
Carlene.
Carlene.
Wow.
MVP, can we definitively say that the MVP of this stream is Carlene?
It's definitely on the top of the leaderboard right now. Thank you so much, Carlini. Holy cow.
You're shooting like a triple double right now.
Very generous. Very much appreciate it.
So generous.
And the whole community does too.
Level 2
Thank you
complete.
so
We're on a
much.
level hype train. How high can you go?
Now you can go like forever. It's crazy. There was one that was like a
Really?
10. It was nuts.
You think this is it?
Oh
On
my
you?
God.
You have you
Yeah,
got
it
one?
was, I think it was
I'm pretty
last
much
time we did
completely
this actually.
What?
Yeah.
Can we beat that? Probably.
Uh-oh. Tired coconut. Holy shit. Oh my
Tired
God.
coconut. No, but we had like a lot more people last time, so I feel like the odds are lower.
We got up to level
right.
11, Johnny Starlight says, last time.
Wow.
Tired Coconut, thank you
Oh,
for the
because
gift subs.
we
Holy
got
shit.
raided. Right, we got raided by Brian Deckhart Games.
Sweeteners, thank you for the sub.
Hey, thanks, sweeteners.
Yo, this is okay.
Zach,
VC. This is what I'm. This is. I appreciate this.
happened
VC
here?
is suggesting that the train gets involved, the hype train, and someone.
What do you mean?
I
Sexually.
used to think this place was so
Who's
cozy.
gonna have sex?
Would
with
I
this
fuck a
place,
hype
really?
train?
Yes.
Yeah, it reminded me of a ski lodge.
I'd fuck a hype train. I mean, a 33% level 3 hype train. I don't know.
never
You're talking like
fantasized
a
about being trapped on a remote ski
I don't
resort
settle for
with
anything
snakes.
like
Hey,
under
wait,
like
wait.
an
By the way,
8.
that line.
cable car's
This is
broken and you've
nice.
only
This
got
is
each
a
other for
nice
warmth.
little joke about
And when the
Until
food
Dawn.
runs
Nice throwback to
Nice
Until Dawn. I
joke.
love it.
Anyone?
Which,
What was it?
by
What was
the
the-
way,
Yeah, see?
by the way, we should play that together.
I know. There's
Oh,
no good
Max has
multiplayer.
rabies.
There's no good multiplayer like function though. Unfortunately. But yeah, okay. Let's what should we say? Optimistic. But I do want to figure out something for Until Dawn. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I might be
I
doing
have it.
might be doing the new what's it called? Devil in Me on stream. Just so you know if you're all
what
interested.
the fuck?
Omi!
Somebody just donated a bunch.
Thank you, Omi, for
Omi!
gift subs. Thank you, Omi. We really appreciate all
How do
your
I
support. Let's
how
get
do I
some,
reply to people?
Let's get some. Oh my God! Hell, hey, it's Sean. Oh, we've got hype.
Wow.
You ever been?
Oh, let's go.
Oh my
Hype train,
goodness.
baby.
Think about it.
This hype train is getting
Couple
laid.
trips down the bunny slope, you'll get the hang of it.
Wow.
Well then, we better get
Wow,
this.
See, now
wow.
it's starting to look better. Now I'm like,
Hype.
ooh, this hype train's pretty hot.
So I have a question. Who should we kill?
No one.
In what?
What do you mean?
This game?
Yeah.
Why would we kill anyone?
Because we have
Why would
to
we
make
kill
some
anyone?
drama.
Thank you, Dreamer Money. Money?
Thank you, Dreamer
I think we
Money.
just.
Is there?
Oh shit!
I'm
You
so
know
mad
what?
that we killed
Fucking hell!
Abby.
I think I missed my chance to get infected a second time. I'm realizing right now. Because I think we
What
did
is
the.
it?
Dang it!
Jacob? Emma?
I'm mad that we killed Abby, honestly.
Oh wait, be on
Are you?
alert right now. Be on high alert. I
Come
think
on,
something's
buddy.
about to happen where we're gonna have to.
No, we'll see.
Don't be mad, Justice.
Okay,
Honestly,
just-
Abby doesn't have that much to
Alright,
do
just
in the
watch.
game later on.
Just watch this.
He
though.
doesn't?
Not really.
What the fuck?
Hey, it's us! Oh shit.
It burns.
Oh my god.
Damn, being maced.
Final
you
girl,
can get
Dylan.
I'm so sorry.
Final girl, Dylan.
I
blind
am
if you
so
get
sorry.
maced.
I didn't know it was you. I was really scared and I thought it's
Really?
not mace.
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
Oh, it's not?
she's so cute.
Oh, it's air freshener. That still burns. What? That still burns your
That's all I
eyes.
could find in the van. Oh, she's
Hey,
so cute.
Where's Abby?
Oh no!
Oh, no.
Oh no! She misses her
Uh-oh.
girlfriend.
Oh,
Carlini.
Hi,
Oh my God!
damn, Carlini.
I can't believe any of this.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Carlini.
I don't think it was really.
It's Carlen. Carlen.
Jacqueline.
Carlen.
Oh man, this sucks. I wish that Emma was a werewolf because I don't want her to know about Abby's death. That makes let's comfort her.
Don't comfort her.
It was quick. She didn't suffer. She was dead in seconds.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
train,
that's
baby.
not. That's not better.
What's wrong with you? Just fix
Level
the
4
car.
complete.
Oh, I pointed with my stump.
I was gonna say I love when you pointed.
I pointed with my stump.
That
God.
was so great.
That must have
What?
Can you fix it?
No.
That
What
was
did I
fucking
miss?
Great.
Not without
You
some
pointed
parts.
at her with her his stump
Specifically,
hand.
a rotor arm. There's a scrapyard up the road.
So you can fix it.
Well, no promises, but if there's hope,
A lot of
that's where we're gonna
phantom
find it.
limb. A lot of people
Yeah.
who experience amputation will still feel that. Like
Yeah,
from
a lot of people
Yeah.
from who like get their arms blown off or something in wars and stuff. I've heard like
Phantom limb
things about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be mean.
I want to encourage. Oh, okay. Dang, I do. I'm sad that I didn't. I wanted to get infected. I've never seen the infected thing.
Got something better to do?
I shouldn't have let Chad
Not die.
kill
Yeah,
Abby.
I'd like that too. By getting
Shouldn't
the
have
hell
let
out of
Chad.
here.
Okay, well, just because you're
Cut my arm
using
off.
logic to make sense doesn't mean that I'm totally into it.
Yeah, let's split up because that worked so well for us last time.
There's a shelter under the lodge. You should be safe there for now.
All right, all right. Good luck.
I wish there was. I mean, it would have been so much work, but like so many of us like change outfits if we'd like alt outfits for those changes too.
I know, right?
Zach, we can only see your shoulder right now, just so you know.
Oh, great.
Where are you going? Just chill. Chill.
Oh, Carlene again, dude.
God. Oh, keep this hype.
Dude, I
up.
feel
Come
bad.
on.
Someone,
Merritt,
someone.
thank you
We
for
don't
the
deserve
cheer.
this.
Someone send Carlene a subscription.
I think that
was
Carlene
that?
has a subscription already.
What was that?
Someone send Carlene
Send her
a
some
box
more.
of chocolates.
Downstairs. We
That's
don't want
right.
any more blood on our hands.
Carlene, you're the best.
About to beat our last
We're
record.
about to beat our last record. Holy shit.
What do you mean?
You keep it down.
If we hit another level of the hype train,
What happens?
I will not kill Dylan. That's so manipulative. I can't do that. I'm just kidding.
Oh, do it. Do it.
You will.
Hang that.
If
Hang
you-
that over their head.
I think that if we hit
Dylan's dead.
a
Dylan's
level
dead if it
5
doesn't
That's
happen.
so fucked up.
Thanks,
I would never do that.
catnips.
I would never do that.
Wait,
Read
don't
this.
don't
The
lay all your
Emperor.
cards on
Okay,
the
the
table.
Emperor. I'm gonna do the Emperor.
and you have to take your clothes off and play the rest of the game naked.
Yeah, I'd do that.
I'll read this.
I'd play the game naked.
The
I don't think
Emperor.
I'll play the game
Authority
naked.
That's
to
gonna be
Eternity.
TOS. This is gonna be
All right,
TOS.
all right.
I'll
I'm
show
reading
the
it.
chat my feet.
I'm
I'll show the
reading
chat
it.
my feet.
Okay, okay.
I'm reading
okay,
it.
Okay. Justice.
The Emperor Authority. Oh my god, this fucking puppy. Oh my god, shut up. The Emperor Authority Paternity strokes the vento no tapo no
What
Um,
is happening?
had the mighty Mafa and the impy with them. Let them play. Let them rip up each other. Let them raid.
Wow. Okay.
So
That was
the
nice.
the emperor is associated with the sign Aries.
I think Chain's gonna die.
The train's gonna die because of what I just did. They were really upset with that. God, I'm tired. The emperor is
You're doing
associated
great.
with Aries, and it has to do with authority, but more of like your inner authority and your willpower. And the emperor is a very strong, masculine figure, traditionally masculine figure, but like healthy masculinity.
What?
You know?
Wow. Very
Hype
nice.
train!
Thank you,
Ow!
Train. Choo choo. We
Wait,
love you, Train.
Ow. Oh, yeah,
How
yeah,
what?
it's done. I thought we just got 5. I was like, wait, how did we get there?
No, we did it. Great job, everybody. Thank
Yeah,
you for the
baby.
hype.
Good
Shoot,
job.
Let's play.
Good job.
Alright, we're playing.
Fucking good.
Okay, Justin.
Okay. We only got 13 minutes left.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Let's see.
Jeez.
I'm so close to being able to send you a scream in your ear, Miles.
Oh no.
Who's
Bubby?
Booby.
Who's Baba?
Bobby?
Who's Bobby? I don't know, but he has a big head.
All right. Here's the time. I'm gonna open. Oh.
Oh God. Okay, we have to be really careful.
Oh,
I missed that. Sorry.
I have a cat distracting
It's so
me.
I didn't even have the controller in my hand.
Eat shit.
Sure
I can die very easily.
I think you might need to.
No.
I think we're okay.
You can.
No.
I don't think anyone heard us.
Heard you.
The chat is really upset because you said you would show us your feet and you did not show
No, don't
us
put the
a
dogs
single
away.
toe.
Put the dogs away. Put the dogs away. Put those dogs
You
away.
didn't show a single toe.
Put the dogs
They didn't
away.
reach the next. They didn't reach the goal. They don't get my toes. They don't get my dogs.
What are you chewing on? What are you eating?
Jacob.
Oh shit. Okay, this scene was really fun to shoot. Come here.
Oh my god.
Hey,
This was the first time we met, I think. The three of us.
What happened?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's see.
Stop
Open
her.
cage. Don't open the cage, right?
Hey. Bad idea.
Because I'll get shocked.
Idiot. Idiot.
Look, you gotta get me out of here, man.
How?
Seriously.
It's electrified.
Okay, there's a box in the corner of the room. I think that's how they're operated, okay? I saw this old guy, hunter dude from the woods. He used that.
All right.
Why are you here, Travis?
So mean.
You ought to be out with the others. Like I say, we've been all night long trying to keep those kids safe.
Ma. It's Kaylee. She's dead.
No.
Boys are
This
bringing
is
her in
brutal
right
to
now.
watch. This part.
I know.
Now
It's
I know
hard.
you got to screw
She's
loose
so
in that cop
mean.
head of yours. There ain't no way to kill her in her kind of condition.
A little insight
Silver
to
bullet.
Travis.
She's dead, Ma.
It thanks herpes.
God damn. No. No, no. No, no. Not my granddaughter. Not my only granddaughter. Not my Kaylee. Not my little Kaylee.
Yeah.
Not my little Kaylee. Not my little Kaylee. You goddamn piece of shit.
You
Not my
goddamn
little
piece of
Kaylee.
shit!
God damn
That's
you.
brutal. That's brutal to watch.
What did you do to her?
No. Oh,
Did
we
you
gotta
get bitten?
stop this girl.
Is she crazy?
Up, Laura. What's she about to do?
Yeah.
It's him.
Think about it. Why would they lock him in a cage?
And who the hell is it?
Who the hell is she? She's in charge. You've already got it wrong
Charge.
once,
Yeah,
and now
I'm
you
the
have Nick.
alpha. Your friend?
Right.
Listen, okay. They said that they've already got 2 of us accounted for.
Oh, it might
Whatever
be
that means.
Nick.
Whoever this is, they're
How did they
not
get
going
Nick?
anywhere. Remember?
Nick?
We've got to be sure. You promised.
Fine. Fine.
Nick is Evan.
Seriously.
Right.
They took it.
Go for it.
They
You
took
guys
it.
can do it.
You fucking idiot.
You
Ma.
fucking idiot.
You fucking idiot!
You fucking piece of shit. Get away. Get away from me.
They're close.
Okay, so we gotta help
We
Jacob.
gotta help Jacob.
Oh, Siobhán. All right, I don't know. How do we gotta get this right though.
Talk me through it.
I don't know. I had to look this up on Google every time.
Okay, but maybe
It doesn't make. How are you supposed to make it make sense though?
Definitely not
Like
that.
you don't
I
get this
understand the
information from
puzzle.
anywhere,
Like,
right?
you can see-
Do you?
No, fuck you. I'm trying
How
to...
do you figure it out? I never figured it
There's a
out.
console on the wall over there, like a box or whatever. You should be able to use those switches to isolate each cage.
Okay. Hang tight.
Maybe you guys can explain this to me.
It's
how
just
you did it.
addition. Okay, so he's in 3.
Isn't it
there's
just
5
Is
and
it?
4, right?
1 and 2 and 2 and 3 you could do.
Go for it. You guys can
Okay,
do
so
it.
7 it has the thing. 5. Okay, so we gotta do 3. 1, 2, 3.
What do you mean
4.
it's just addition?
Dylan's
How is
left
it just
hand
addition? I don't
says-
get it.
How do we do this? What the fuck?
Dylan's left.
How is it
hand
just addition?
says-
Why would you be
So
adding?
what is it,
Guys, what do we
3?
do? It'd be 3 and then 5, right?
Said 3
Guys.
and 1, right? Wait, what did you say?
No! No, that'll kill me.
3 and 2, right?
3 and 2.
Wait, 3 and
Oh god, I hope it didn't do 3 and 4. Or
wait, 3. You're in
Oh, God,
5.
no.
You're in 3.
oh god, I'm about to die. I'm dead. I'm
I'm
dead.
confused. Wait, which
For
one
real?
are you in?
Thanks. Thanks, Siobhán.
Wait, which
Three.
one are you
What?
in?
Wait, I
No,
don't get
my
it. Where's
vote
5?
doesn't matter.
5 isn't
That's
on
why
here.
I'm saying I don't understand why it's addition.
I'm dead.
5 isn't on here.
How do we
Which
do
one
this?
do I choose now?
Wait,
Guys, how do we do this?
Is
I
it
don't want to kill Jacob.
1 or 4?
No matter what, he's dead. He's
no,
dead.
no, no, no,
He's
no,
gone.
no,
Are you
no, no,
serious?
no, no,
Why
do
is he
5.
dead?
His
It's
fate
5.
is sealed.
It's 1 and 4, right? So, or
Okay, so bottom right.
wait,
Four?
what?
we already
Who
did
3.
3.
Who did 3? I did 1.
We all did 3
No, I
because
did
no one
1.
was speaking up.
No, I did 1. Wait, why is that? Why
Well,
are there
3
4
is
options?
pulled.
I
3
did
is
1.
pulled because no one knew what to do.
No, I did 1.
Okay, but everyone else did 3. Now what do... Just tell me what to do. Someone tell me
Wait,
what
I
to
swear
do.
I did 1.
Tell me what to do.
Okay, so what are you gonna do? 2? Wait, what does chat say?
Miles just texted us in the group chat saying, I did 1.
I did 1. I don't know what happened.
Guys, just tell me what to push.
Bye. I'm
Wait, was
so
that
dead,
my
dude.
fault?
Wait, I didn't do
We got that
anything.
wrong. We opened
It
up.
shouldn't. What I do?
I'm dead. You've officially
Guys,
sealed my
Yeah, because
fate.
you fucked it.
Wait,
No.
guys. My screen and my... Okay, they're not adding up, but okay.
Okay, well, no, you're not dead. It's
better
not.
off down
The
here.
door's not opening.
I'm sorry, man.
Why are you dead? That doesn't
come
kill
back
you.
I'm dead.
Please run.
No.
Werewolf is out in the
You're
middle
just in the
cage.
cage still.
Come on. You gotta let me out. You
We're
can't
leaving him?
Yeah, it's not like.
F in the chat for Jacob, please, for all the gamer girls.
Wait, I don't understand. I did 1. I did 1, and then
Miles, if you say I did one more fucking time, I swear to God, I'm gonna reach
For
the screen and
shame.
strangle you.
For
I don't understand why-
shame. Soft boy Jacob is no more.
This is whack. Why did we kill Jacob? That was lame.
Can someone please explain to me how
tried to
that
do 1.
puzzle is just addition? Can someone explain to me how that puzzle is
Yeah,
just addition, please?
How do we do the puzzle? I don't get it.
Odd numbers. You just have to do odd numbers. So if you do 1 and 2 and 2, I don't really even get how it works, but
Yeah, but how are you supposed to know that?
Motherfucking months,
Yeah.
right? And you're telling me
Like, how are you as a player
Internet
supposed to
told
know
me.
that?
that instead
Does
What?
the internet
Yeah.
control
Oh,
it?
okay.
Put a
Okay. Yeah.
bullet
See, I
into
don't
each
understand how you
one
can figure that
of
out.
their little
without looking
sorry
it up.
shit-stained
like
brains?
when they used to be like, how are you gonna do math?
You
You have a
gave
calculator on you all
them your
the time.
silver
And it's-
bullet gun and they shot my Kaylee with it? Is that what
this.
you're telling me
This
now,
called-
Travis?
It's all made all time.
No more blood on your hands. That's what you said it.
Oh my God, we are way past that now.
damn.
My
Okay, did we just
not synced up with the live stream anymore?
Or
I
bottom.
don't know why.
What then?
She was your family. A good boy protects his
Did I
family.
lose you guys?
You ain't no good
Hello?
boy.
Hello? Wait, you lost?
All right.
Wait, what's going on?
Wish I could take
I
it
can
all
hear
back.
you.
Oh, never mind. I'm back in here. And my
Wish I could take it all
thing
back, but I
froze
can't.
for a second. Twitch.
Oh, you have to do 1 and 2, and then 2 and 3. Got it.
Like I said.
Taking care of the
I
problem.
don't
gosh.
You hear
I
yourself?
got it.
Yes, I hear my goddamn self. I may be old, but I ain't dead.
I'm a police officer.
Oh, so now I'm
The
blind,
best.
you motherfucker.
Thank you for my kisses.
Now I'm blind. Oh, you just flashing that badge around like it's worth $1 million. The only reason you got it is because hey,
Ma,
Don't ma me.
would you sit down, please?
Don't you tell me what to do. And
Please.
don't you go around. Don't you go around like you better than everybody else, because you ain't.
That's it for me.
Would you please sit down?
Don't you tell me what
All right.
to do, you
4
Yeah,
o'clock.
this is the end. We're gonna. Uh-oh.
I'm so sorry,
Yes.
Zach, that we killed you. I really did not want to do that.
What
He's
happened? The sound is
okay.
crunchy.
I forgive you.
I did 1. I don't know what happened. I could have sworn. I don't understand what the why there were 4 options and you can only go left and right, and it didn't. I thought it'd be like. I don't know. Oh shit.
Ma, send Bobby down.
Did you just abandon her?
Wait. Pause and then play. And then it's fine. Oh shit. Okay.
Oh
Here we go.
shit, I left her.
Right?
I did 1.
Is inside her. That's why I need to find the key.
Well, that was a shit show of a chapter, I gotta say.
What a disaster.
We really fucked that up all around.
I'm so
fully
sad
and
about
thoroughly.
Jacob. Is that true? Is that actually
Really
true?
whack that we killed
Yeah,
Jacob.
he's a gone boy.
Miles, I'm blaming you. That must have been.
I did 1.
Miles, that was absolutely your fault. I hate you. I hate you. I hate this font. I hate it.
You hate the font?
Yeah.
What
Yeah, I
font,
hate
what
the-
font would you
I
like?
hate
did
the
one.
font.
What is this? I did
only
one?
hate the font.
Oh my god.
Wait, would you
You
like?
can't
did
even
one.
blame.
One.
You can't even
Ah,
blame a wine
buddy.
or beer this time.
Did you
What
miss
about
me?
this?
It's
Do you like
murdered
this
in
one?
cold blood.
Hopefully, you've brought me some more of my cards. Let's have a look,
You want-
shall we?
What is
Closing.
happening? Not web dings.
After all,
Not Libra,
fortune
Pisces,
Oh my
is a
God.
spinning wheel.
Libra, Pisces,
You
Libra,
have to take
square,
a chance.
cube,
Karma
Scorpio.
works
Oh
in
my
mysterious
God, what the
ways,
fuck?
But it favors those who pay attention.
Well,
Watch
I like the
closely.
M. That's cool.
Though the wheel spins, the eagle-eyed can tell where it's going to stop.
We're almost at 4 hours. We're
This is
40
it,
seconds
yeah,
away.
We're
all right.
We're gonna call
I'm
it.
going.
Perfect timing.
I'm
You
leaving
can take
now.
it. Take off. Bye, Justice. Thanks for coming.
Love
Bye,
you,
guys.
bye.
Wait, it's gonna go to
Bye-bye.
shit.
When we're gonna
It's
do
gonna go to
this
shit.
again.
It's gonna.
It'll be
hold on
great.
one second.
I'll be amazing.
All right. I'm gonna.
Let
I'm
me
gonna
know
stop it.
when we're gonna do
okay.
this again.
Hold on. We're gonna. Are you guys mad
Miles-
at me because of the one
Miles,
thing?
Miles,
I'm
it would be a
furious.
shame
Yeah,
if someone
we're all mad.
screamed at you.
Why is everyone mad at me
Furious
because of
Abby died because of you.
No, Abby
Jacob
died because of the
because of
chat.
you.
Abby died because of the chat. Because the chat didn't
Everyone
vote
died
fast enough,
because
and so
of
I didn't
you.
get time to make a decision. And
You know what? I
Because of
think-
me,
I think we need to-
you chose a number 2. I chose,
I didn't
and
know
I
what
did
to do,
one.
and I
Number two.
asked repeatedly.
we
I
need to
said,
mute
"What
me.
do we do?"
So why is it my fault? I did
We
one.
need to mute me,
Cause
Miles. I
you
think someone else should steer the ship next
I did
game.
one.
My partners
I did.
go.
I did one.
You can't have done one because you're the game leader.
No, but I thought I was. The way it's designed, I'm confused because I thought that I did one. I went left on the thing, and
R.I.P. Sweet boy Jacob.
and I just don't. I love Jacob. I would have done Jacob Final Girl. I did one.
Jacob Final Girl is the way to do it.
I did one. I mean, I know it's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen next. I know it's gonna happen when it's my life on the line. Now everyone's blaming me, but that's okay.
I just want you to know, Miles. I just want you to know that I've already deleted your number and blocked you on all social media.
Oh, ouch.
Because
We'll start a new
I'm
group chat
so
with
mad.
that, Miles.
Okay,
You
hold on.
killed Jacob.
Okay.
You killed him.
I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm just so sorry.
You all have to kill Dylan now. Do it. Rise up.
I'm so sorry. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, we're gonna make sure we kill Dylan. 3-on-1.
I also want to say, someone in the chat just said, I'm confused. How does Justice not know what the order is? Why would I know what the order is?
Yeah, why would
would I
anyone know what
know?
the order is? I don't understand. People
It's
are just
so
like, it's just
confusing.
addition. I'm like, what do you mean it's just addition? Adding what and
Yeah,
what for what reason?
The puzzle's
Made
really
no
complicated.
sense. It's such a
It doesn't
hard
make any
puzzle to
sense.
do.
Like, in
And I
order to
remember when
open
we
the third
shot it,
gate, you pick.
when we shot it, it was also. I even asked Will. I said, "How do they actually beat this part?" And he explained it. Then and I said, "I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense." And he said, "Shut up and just do it."
Just
and so
do
I
it.
did.
Just act.
He said, "Shut up and act, you animal."
We don't pay you to
I've been
think.
paid to think. Oh.
And so I did it. But I'm
took that
really
advice.
upset right now because on the back end, I killed my friend. I
This
didn't want
person
to do
told
that.
us, they said, pull 1 and 2 opens, which is Jacob Cage. 2 and 3 opens 5, which was the middle. I don't know why how do
Yeah,
we
but
know
that doesn't make
though?
any sense. Why would you think to add the numbers together? Like, usually
I
with
don't
a
fucking get it
fuse
still.
box, something
is it the number above the
directly
cage or
linked.
something? Maybe it's
I just want to say the reason why Miles is to blame is because Miles knew what the right answer was because he's played this game before. He knew what
Why
the
is
right
Miles
answer
crying?
was.
Yeah, Miles looks really sad.
I
Is he
did
muting
one. I
himself?
did one.
Miles, you deserve to cry. Miles knew what the answer was, and I asked him repeatedly. I said, "What do I do? What do I do?"
I
And
said
no
from
one
the
said
very
anything.
beginning.
Miles
From the
said nothing.
very beginning, I 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. Run
And
the
yet
tape
when
back.
I asked, okay, then fucking Zach, I blame you too, bitch, because when I asked, I asked
I'm the
so
one who
many
died.
times. So many times I said, "What do I do?"
Miles is
and no
breaking
one said
down.
nothing.
I was
No one
trying
said anything.
I was trying to corral the masses, but it was hard to. Miles, I know we did 1. It's okay. We'll make it through this.
That's bullshit because you always are talking so much.
That's true. That's
so
true.
the fact that for the one goddamn time I needed you
that
to
you needed
speak
me to
up,
be talking.
you felt like you,
You know
couldn't
what?
interject is bullshit.
I'll take the L on this one. You're right.
I'm mad at Miles. I'm mad at you, Zach. And Siobhán,
What about
I don't
Siobhán?
even know why, but I'm mad at you too.
What?
Because
Why? You guys just cut out.
Whoa! Beefing with Siobhán. Why is Siobhán? Why are you mad at Siobhán?
I don't know.
Rude.
Siobhán, I don't know what you did, but I feel like you did something.
Okay, Justice. You keep thinking that.
I'm coming for everyone. I didn't get to play. I only got to play 2 minutes of the game. And in the 2 minutes that I
know.
got to play, you single-handedly ruined my experience by killing Jacob.
Damn!
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Single-handedly ruined
Shame on
the
you, Zach.
experience.
Wow.
Shame on Twitch.
Wait, how did we single? How did
Shame
we
on
single-handedly?
Discord.
Shame on Twitch.
Shame
we
on
hear you,
all.
Mr. Bezos.
I am never coming back. You have
Somebody
lost
wrote-
a customer.
Someone wrote, "This is the Justice Joker arc."
I'm gonna go blow up a hospital now. That's how upset I am.
Miles, you look so sad. Perk up, Buttercup.
I'm fine. I'm okay. I did one. I did
Tears
one.
mean nothing.
I did one.
Your tears mean you are not the victim. Have you
I
guys
did
seen
one.
that trailer of Viola Davis going, "You are not the victim"?
From what?
No.
It's from that Sandra Bullock Viola Davis movie. It's called something, I forget. But there's a trailer. She goes,
Have you seen that Jennifer Garner movie where she has a kid who's like head hurts and she's going to doctors and they can't figure out what's wrong, and then the
Oh, and she's
kid falls
she's
out of a
secretly
tree
a-
and hits her head, and
She's a
she gets
30-year-old
cured. And she's
woman.
like, "God knew, God cured my child." It's very weird.
"Oh
Not
yeah,
very
I'm
good.
Sounds like a
vaguely
bad
familiar."
movie.
It's
Miles
terrible.
is crying on mute.
Are you muted, Miles?
Oh my god. Can we just kick Miles off his own channel? I wish that I
Miles.
could just like remove him.
okay.
No, don't, Miles, don't cry.
I'm just gonna mix it
I'm
up.
gonna go
a
into
little bit. I'm
Discord
gonna,
and just delete.
I need to just. I don't know. I need to just shake something up.
Did
I
it
need to
help
just
that
change-
someone told you to eat shit right now? Did that make you feel
That
better?
helped a little bit. Yeah. I'm just gonna just try.
Guys,
Just
all right.
try something
If
new.
you
I'm
like,
just
just
gonna
tell
try
them
something new.
keep telling them to eat shit.
Just gonna try something
telling
new.
them to eat shit.
Just gonna try something new.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just moving.
Why
on.
does everyone
Yeah,
keep
the
saying
mods are
Mitski?
gonna
What's
kick you
going-
out.
Yeah,
Why
what
does
is
everyone keep
Mitski?
saying Mitski? Mitski's a singer. She's like one of my favorite artists. But why do they keep mentioning her?
I don't know.
Is Miles playing Mitski music right now or something?
I can't keep up.
No, I'm not playing Mitski right
I
now.
don't even know who Mitski is. I don't know why it made me
Mitski's
laugh.
a
but
really she's
eat
dope.
shit,
actually.
Miles.
You should look her up. She's like literally my favorite. I saw her in concert at
Mitski?
Radio City Music Hall. She's so good.
I'm not playing Mitski
Yeah.
right now.
Were you playing Mitski? Were you playing sad girl music? Were you playing sad girl music while I was reading you to filth? You are not the victims.
Indie rock, alt indie, art pop, punk rock, folk punk. Full name Mitsuki Laycock.
Go for it. You guys can do it.
Wait, what? Her
record
last name's
labels.
Laycock? I did not know
Laycock.
that. I'm so upset.
Wait,
Miles
Mitski?
is still
I did
silently having a
one. I
breakdown.
I tried to keep Jacob alive, and everyone's
Commitment to
blaming
this
me.
bit is fucking next level.
Tell me what song that Miles just played. Guys, what Mitski song did Miles play? Because I swear to God, depending on the song.
Wow,
He's
she went to
playing
the
Elliott
Alabama
Smith.
School of Fine Arts. Oh, he's playing. What is he playing? Say Yes, Needle in the Hay. What is he playing?
I hate this.
Angela's.
I beat
guys.
Beefed it.
Wait, what? Who did that?
Beefed it.
I've never seen that. How did
It's
they
one of
put
the
the
sound
beefed it
alerts.
thing?
It's one of the sound alerts.
He played Last Words of a Shooting Star.
Yeah.
That's the saddest song.
I know, Justice.
It's about her dying in an airplane.
It's a good
You are
song.
not the victim.
I did one, okay? I did one. Now it's Elliott Smith, Angela's, and before that it was Sound of Silence. But I've been having.
I
I've
love
just been,
Sound of Silence.
I did one, okay?
Elliott
so
Smith
mad.
is my favorite music to listen to. I'm considering his own genre of music.
It's very good music. It's very, very good music. I would like to thank Bava Loves Herps and Catnips for the gift subs.
What? Did they do more?
I might have reread Catnips. But no, that was the second one from Catnips. Thank you.
Well,
yeah.
now you
so
have to
I'm
get
gonna-
more because you.
I did one. I promise I tried. I promise I was not trying to kill Jacob there. I thought about it, but I was gonna just kill myself. But now
Your word
need
means fuck all, Miles.
Thank you, Siobhán, for speaking for the
This
people.
is my channel. This is my...
Also, I keep seeing
And this
people
is a
telling you to
mutiny,
speak shit.
Miles. This is a mutiny.
This is a revolution. You're British. You're England this
I
time.
did one.
You're English.
I chose one, and chat didn't vote fast enough for Abby. I didn't. It's not my fault.
That's definitely a meme now, huh? I did one.
All right.
Hey, thanks. It's Riles.
All right. This has been great, everyone. This has been really nice. Let's just. I'm just gonna. Let's 1 second. I'll be right there. Okay. Just moving on a little bit. Thank you, everybody. I promise I did do one. Oh, this isn't the one I wanted to do. I wanted to do this one. I promise.
Look at me. I am the mod person now.
I promise I did one. I'll let you all know when we do the next one. I think we'll be doing another one to finish this up.
we'll try to give a more of an alert.
And
This is very,
and we will get some justice for Abby. Don't worry, we're gonna kill Dylan. That's what's gonna happen.
Justice for Abby.
We're gonna kill Dylan. So
Wow,
when you
Zach,
want to see
that was so good.
I am going to. Yes, I'll see you later. I'm gonna be doing a stream of the Devil and Me. I'm gonna be getting a code from Bandai Namco, I believe, and we'll be doing that.
Ooh, I wonder.
We're gonna do a. I don't know what else. maybe we'll play some Overwatch or something. I did one, I promise, everyone. Please forgive me. I'm begging for forgiveness.
Miles, Siobhán, Justice. Justice, it sounds like you're going, but I'm probably gonna be around. So if you want to play a little Overwatch or something, I'm around.
Okay, I'll let you know. We'll see. I'm definitely need to go do some
things outside
business.
for a second.
Yeah, for a second. All right, everybody. Love you all. I'll see you soon. We're gonna figure out. We're gonna figure out.
Oh yeah, if I stream, it's Atticus Smaticus.
Oh yeah, big shout out to Atticus Smaticus.
And Siobhán is at Siobhán Official.
Siobhán Williams. Thank you.
Siobhán Williams.
Okay.
Siobhán Williams Official.
And mine is secret. Bye.
All right, we're gonna figure out someone to raid. I'll see you all in a bit. Ciao.
Bye.